Hi, ho everyone, my name is Mr. Fruit, and welcome to the Bazaar. But in today's video, over-explain Bazaar, as we teach one Datto how to play the Bazaar, or at least explain a little bit better. I don't consider myself the best Bazaar player. A lot of the game is a simple knowledge check at the very beginning, and also concepts. Now, once you understand them, the game gets a lot easier. But I know you've played a little bit, Datto, and I think it was, we were talking when you explained how it'd been going, when I was like, why don't I try and help?
Yeah, so in my 30 years of gaming, usually when I pick up a game, I have some level of adeptness to the game that I can...
You're used to being a gamer, I get it.
I can get an average score in something within the first couple of attempts, hours of a thing. When I tell you that I have never been so bad at a game in my life, I mean it. I don't think in the last, 7 attempts at this game that I've gotten above 2 wins. This is unknown territory for me, being this not good at a game.
I will say, I experienced a very similar experience when I first started playing. And it reminded me of League way back in the day, because League of Legends was one of the first games I played, and I'll just be honest, dog. I was terrible.
Yeah.
I was playing bots when I was getting owned. And I was like, what the heck, dude? I was the same way. It's like, I'm used to playing the game, picking up pretty quick, or like, at the very least, not just being like, I'm garbage. But then something about League, I was like, okay, but I want to get better. And then I did.
Yeah.
And the Bazaar is one of the few games, too, where I was like, I'm dog at this. And yet I'm still having fun. I want to get better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've spent an unhealthy amount of time playing. Probably not consuming as much other Bazaar content, which is also
I'm
a problem with, like, League. Yeah, I'm not good at odd reviews or, like, consuming other things to, like, pick up on some things. So, I learned most of this the hard way. Some comments have been helpful, or just reading, like, a post here and there. But yeah, the Bazaar can be unforgiving, and what I'll tell you, and I said in a
I don't even have enough
recently,
gems
too.
for ranked, by the way.
We'll get you there. The hopefully thing that gives you a little bit of solace is right now is the hardest the game will ever be. So while you are having a hard time, it's also because right now it's a pay-to-play beta.
Yeah.
And the meta is also...
I've heard things.
From when I've been playing, yeah, I'd say it's one of the toughest, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially for who will be playing today, which is Vanessa.
Is the only character I have access to, because I was interested in the game, but I wasn't sure if I was $30 interested in the game. So I asked one of my viewers if anybody else is playing it, and they happen to have a code that they weren't going to give to anybody. And I had a viewer very graciously give me a code, and I've been trying to figure out Vanessa pretty much ever since. I've also been on like a don't look up information kick recently, because I've been grinding my way up in Slay the Spire, and I think part of the fun of something like Slay the Spire or Balatro has been figuring things out on my own and not looking up that information. Because as soon as you do, it's just like you're just going to shoot for like one of 3 or 4 builds pretty much every time, and then the magic's kind of gone. But I've gone long enough in this game that I am past that point, and I still haven't gotten better. And I'm like, F this. I'm like looking Kriparian videos, I'm looking up other information. The Reddit's popping up on my feed. So
the thing I liked about this game, the way I learned at the beginning too, was the amount of just random photos I get. So the way I did it, instead of looking up meta 2, was just like, wow, that dude destroyed me. Screenshot. I was like, what were they doing? That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I find that that's a fun way to also learn, but we'll hop into it. And I also want to go over, just because I know some people watching too might not have the best idea of what Bazaar is. So sometimes I might be going real broad too.
That's fine.
But in this case...
Here's one thing that I have learned. Is I was looking at the Bazaar subreddit somewhat recently, because someone was like saying, oh, I could still consistently hit 9-10 wins on Vanessa, blah, blah, blah. Every single build that they had had the trebuchet. Every single one. So this is good omens.
The irony of Vanessa's still good, it forces the same item.
But
so that's
at least if we're doing this right now while this item is hot, it's kind of nice to have it so you could see how we can build into this to make ourselves potentially win.
Exactly. So the game as a whole and their design philosophy is supposed to be, they don't want you to be able to force things. The whole point is it's supposed to be like a roguelike. Every run should be different, and it should be like the best board to play is the one you get.
Right.
That's how they want to get there. Now, through balance patches and stuff, they're still obviously solving that. And
working on that,
part of the issue, too, is right now each hero has 100 items available that are unique to them. When you play them, you only have access to those unless there's rare encounters. But through different patches and bugs, a lot of stuff could be disabled. And later on in the game, they hope to add more items so that heroes have more, like 100, 200. So right now, it's also the smallest the pool will ever be, which means statistically it's going to be a lot easier to force a build because there's only so many items. But yeah, so you start with all those items. That was actually an insane roll because also the crow's nest.
Yeah, I know that is a very popular item as well.
Yeah, I would argue the other main build, Vanessa. So right now, Vanessa has really like 3 builds, I think, that can consistently compete. It would be Trebuchet. I'd probably put towards the top. 1 weapon Vanessa, which uses the crow's nest. And then
like
full weapon Unga Bunga. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then full weapon Unga Bunga with a certain skill and a couple right rolls on level up options. But Trebuchet is what we're going to be building around. And so the whole idea with this one, it's an 8-second cooldown, which is a little slow, but when you use weapon or haste, you're able to charge it. And the whole idea of the Bazaar, and I get this a lot, because I'll get like a cool item in a run, and somebody's like, oh, you should have played that, man. That would have been so cool. I'm like, yeah, but it's a 12-second cooldown.
Yeah.
And the thing to remember about Bazaar is you want to get a thing, your build, whatever it is, your engine. Yeah. And then you want to get your engine online as fast as possible. So even like the sniper rifle, you would think, well, that's like the one weapon to put for a 1-weapon build because it does like 5x damage if it's your single weapon. But it has a 10-second cooldown. Yeah. So you have to get a lot right for it to get going early. So right now in the current meta, and that's why everything we sort of go through right now is dependent on the meta, but hopefully there's some things to take overall that, regardless of how they end up changing the game, won't be too drastic. But so
let's talk about some early game.
Is real nice.
Let's talk about some early game here. What do we want to be prioritizing? Because like I'm looking here. If this is pre me looking up some information, pre me talking to you, what am I looking at? I would potentially just being like, oh, I have this. I just want to yoink a haste item because this does haste stuff. But this is probably not the best move.
And part of it is, again, understanding all the items. So right now, they don't have the numbers visible, but every day there's a percentage chance to hit certain rarities. So for instance, day 1 is what we're on. Pretty sure it's a 100% chance whatever you find in the shop, unless it's literally an encounter for silver vendors, you're only going to find bronze. Yeah. So in this case, I believe if you were to get a haste item, you get bronze. And if I'm not mistaken, the only bronze haste items you could get is the catfish or the jellyfish, which technically have the haste keyword, but don't help the trebuchet at all. So something like that is important to know.
That is like a big knowledge to be like, so the only items that would be able to show up in the store at this, like if you, oh my God. Okay.
So that's a little, again, that's a little accelerated. Yeah. And to be fair, right now, it's easier to say that. If it was day 5, I could be like, or like day 6, I'm like, God knows, I have no idea.
Right.
Like there's a big pool.
But that's still helpful. It's still helpful to know that certain items can show up on certain days.
Yeah. So it's taken into account that stuff. And the rough breakpoints, I think they've been changing, and I don't know them exactly, but day 1 through day 5, bronze to silver, and as you get higher into the day, silver's more likely. Day 6 is when gold can start to show up, and day 9 is when diamond can start to show up. Now, there are a few exceptions that break those rules, but essentially that's something to understand because also what's important, there are some items in the Bazaar that only appear at a certain rarity. one instance is like the Shipwreck, which is a Vanessa aquatic thing that gives your aquatic items multicast. Really strong. Only appears as a large diamond. So you will never find it if you like can't roll diamond, essentially.
That is so unbelievably helpful, because there have been so many times where I would just go to the store just to be like, I'm trying to find an item that I have so that I can upgrade it. And I spent so much time trying to go to stores to upgrade the items on my board. And I feel like the odds of actually having that happen were just so low. And I was just wasting turns looking for an item that I just could not find. So I wasn't powering myself up in any other real way. And then I came into another realization, is that like the upgrades, maybe if you go from like bronze to diamond is a huge upgrade, but like one individual upgrade is not as significant as developing your board more so that your items can maybe activate more times.
100%. Not all upgrades are created equally, because like one item, oh, I got like the trebuchet, at least it gains more burn, but it's like, okay, you get 20 more damage.
Right.
Whereas another item that's more utility is like you go from 1 second haste to 2 second haste on all your items, and that's a big upgrade.
Yeah.
So I think that is a trap a lot of people get caught in, because, and we'll do that as we go through encounters, but it's also sort of weighing the pros versus cons of like, here's a guaranteed thing I could get that I know would help, or I could gamble on the shop, but I could go in there, not find my thing, reroll, waste gold, and then I didn't end up getting that other thing too.
Okay.
So that is something to think about.
People,
yeah,
I can tell people are screaming at their screen right now to be like, do something.
Something.
What do I want to be prioritizing in the early game here?
Early game, I'll make it real simple for you. We love XP.
Okay.
XP, XP, XP. Because XP means you level up. Level up is more base health, which especially in the early days, I mean, what? I think 1 to 2 is 50 or 100 health. In fact, if you hover over your portrait, I believe it'll tell you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So next level, you get 100 health, you get 2 more board space, and then you get a level up option.
I had no idea what those other symbols actually meant, by the way. No idea.
Yeah.
Had no clue.
That's pretty much all it means. But so 100 health in an early game PvP fight, huge.
Massive. Yeah.
And the level up upgrade options right now, that's why I said, I was like, I don't know, maybe they changed the game so the level up options aren't great, but right now they can be really powerful. So maybe you hit something. So in this case, yeah, knowing a strange mushroom offers you, if you were to go into the encounter, a free XP. I take that, especially day one. I will almost forego everything if it means I can get XP, because if you get 2 instances of extra XP, so that's one of them.
Yep.
And then you find another, that's a day 1 level 2 PvP fight.
Okay.
But XP is always just a good, safe option. And a noob trap is just like, ooh, I want items. And, oh, I'm going to reroll. For the love of God. Avoid early day rerolls, almost like the plague.
Yeah, because you don't
3
have a lot of
gold
money.
that early is huge.
It's just like Balatro, really. It's like, you really going to spend $5 on the first shop to reroll? Like, that's an insane waste of money. Insane waste of money.
So, day 1 PvE fights, there's also something to know about them. You don't have to worry about it because you have the trebuchet. But there are 1 or 2 PvE fights that you cannot win. You have to have some form of a board. So this comes into play because, like, let's say you're playing dually and you have a companion core, it literally does nothing.
Yeah.
On this screen, you could actually choose any of these. You could take the trebuchet off the board and you would still win. So it's important to note.
Wow.
But if you're ever up against the, like, Pit Viper, I believe is what it is, and the drone bee-looking fella. The drone bee-looking fella, all you need is, like, literally do 10 damage during the fight and you win. The Pit Viper has the least amount of health, but you got to cook a little bit. Yeah. That one's the riskiest.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's important to note, otherwise you could choose any of these, so then it's a matter of you get these options, and it's like, okay, what loot might I want to be able to get to these from these? Now, learning the PvE encounters themselves, one just comes from time. You tried it, you saw the thing, boom.
Yeah.
Then I eventually found out too, it's a little easier. There's different websites, but you can find ones where you literally just look up. You're like, oh, okay, I'm about to play the
Fanged Inglet.
Yeah, Fanged Inglet. So you'd look it up, and then they should show you like the board and the description of their items. And it's a good reminder, especially later on, to be like, oh, what did they have? Oh, right. And I'm looking for this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So that's day one. What you consider for PvE fights is one, can I beat it? 99% of the time, the answer is yes. And then two, okay, with that in mind, what would I like to get? So in this case, the banana guy, the best thing he could drop is duct tape, which is okay. But if we're already going trebuchet, we don't care about shield. The kimono, same. I think they could drop the silk, which is a pig shield item. And it can scale when you sell things. But for this build, Fanged Inglet is the only one that could drop a weapon, which early on, obviously, the trebuchet would like. Or, worst case, I think you get a item that give you a little bit of crit chance. So either way, it's something you would actually use.
Perfect. So yeah, so this, I mean, these I would basically just pick at almost at random when I've been playing, especially in the later stages where I'm just like, I'm just looking for a win, baby. I didn't even know that they could drop, like, that they had items specific to them that, like, could drop. It only dawned on me when I happened to fight the same PvE event late in a game. And,
like twice in a row?
Yeah, like in 2 different runs in a row, and they dropped like a diamond tier item both times, which happened to be the thing that I used to make my build really work. And I was like, oh, they drop specific items, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just, I mean, we can just get rid of it.
In this case, yeah, it's what you just sell it for money.
Is there any reason to maybe keep it around for like another item that you might get that's like when you sell a small item, gain this? Because like I don't need this money right now, so like hypothetically I could put it in the bank, and then maybe I get a different item later on that's like when you sell a small thing, it gets a bonus. Like, is that worth it?
A lot of the time, yeah. Like if you don't need to, you just need to remember then that you have access to it. Now, if you're playing Pig, you definitely want to keep that in mind because Pig has almost everything they do involves around like buying, selling something.
Yeah.
So it never hurts. In this case, especially with the day 2 PvE meta of trying to get this skill called augmented weapons, holding on to it isn't the worst case if you don't need the money. So yes, that is something you can do and should do. And if you really, this is metagaming I don't even really do myself, but you can get certain items. Like right now, let's say you got that bronze pelt, and then you were to come across a PvE encounter that had gold pelts. Let's say they had 4 gold pelts in their thing. You having a bronze gold pelt means they'll never drop the gold pelt because you have a bronze. So then you eliminate that from the pool, and then you have a better chance of actually getting some of the other PvE stuff.
Wow. Okay.
But
yeah, that
is
is like
very
some
specific.
that is some radiant gaming right there.
Yeah, that is like to the next step. But that is in a vacuum. Yes, that's something else too.
That is not some beginner stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got small items, we got monster loot, we got lose income, gain 8 gold. This to me, I feel like is
never clicked it.
Never good. Yeah.
Not once.
I
never clicked.
Just my instinct is like I don't want less money to be coming in, and I don't need money right now. So I'm leaning towards either get monster loot, which seems just like a toss up. I could get a small item instead. We do have a spot for a small item, so like I wouldn't mind getting a small item. Thoughts?
I think you could go either way. I lean towards monster loot.
Okay.
Because 1, Gamba. But 2, with the way monster loot is currently working, you can buy the most expensive monster loot, and bare minimum, you just sell them and get your gold back.
Okay.
Because they currently give 4 gold back. You buy 2 gold. So 2 gold items for 8 gold, you get 8 gold back. But some of the gold monster tier loot can be really good. You can get like 9% cooldown for a single item, 6% cooldown for your entire board.
Oh, yeah,
you get plus 3 burn. Yeah, you get 2 XP. So typically, I just roll it, especially early if I'm not that worried.
So, so monster loot is usually some sort of a sellable thing then? Like when you sell this item, it does something?
Yeah, I don't think there's a single monster loot that is usable or like it's
so
always
it's all
sell
sellable.
this for something.
Okay, that explains a lot actually.
Yeah. So that's the way I would go, especially since
we have
the
trebuchet.
Gamble for cooldown. It doesn't even matter your board or what your build is. Cooldown is always
good.
So good. So like this early on, I mean, there's a lot you could hit. You could hit cooldown. You could hit damage. You could hit burn. You could hit another cooldown. So Yeah, there's 3 options to get bronze tier, silver tier, or gold tier. But like I said, if you have the money to buy the most expensive tier, you just always should because, yeah, worst case, you just get your money back.
Interesting. Okay, let's do it. We got scrap. Kind of sucks. And okay.
Oh, so good. See, you hit one of them. So even, I mean, that's more than worth it. 9% cooldown.
Yeah.
So in this case, like you had mentioned, you don't need the gold. So the shield item, the scrap that gives an item the most shield, you can hold on to that for now. Now, as soon as you get to somewhere you might want to buy something, and that we don't care, you can just sell it. Right. You're not missing out on much.
Yeah.
But in this case, you already got the insect wing.
Use this now.
Yeah, and knowing that we already have a silver trebuchet in the meta, there's like a 99% chance by the end of this game, your in-game board has this trebuchet. So this 9% cooldown.
Yeah, it's sticking around, basically. So you wouldn't use this on an item that you didn't think was going to stick around for the long haul, essentially.
With a 9%, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Now, if I got like a 3%, like an earlier one, and I think it marginally helps my chances of winning early, sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I would typically save this unless I hit a break point where like I really need the gold. I hate to use it, but
yeah,
so be it. But yeah,
money. Okay. So we're going from 8 seconds to 7.3.
Love that.
All right, skills, small, medium items, and then gain 25 health. I almost never take health. I almost never take regeneration because to me, like 25 health like might help right now, but in the long term, 25 health is basically nothing. And if I think I could get like a skill or an item that would, do more for me, I kind of want to lean that direction. Your thoughts?
You're not entirely wrong.
Okay.
25 health, especially given the other options right now, I don't think is worth it.
Okay.
But there are a lot of instances where I do think it's worth it. And even thinking about like, oh, okay, well, if I were to get, let's say this is 50 health right now, I'd probably take it. Let's say I get 50 health right now. Well, that's not going to scale well into the late game. Yeah, but if that's the difference between a win right now, that's one less late day you have to play, which is easily worth the 50 health not mattering then.
So you're kind of thinking win now so that you can win later.
Well, so and that's why we take like early XP and stuff, even though XP's always good. But in the Bazaar, the way it works is because of how you lose health and stuff. If you lose early and you want to get to 10 wins, that means you'll have to win later, which is harder. Like duh, right? But later days are going to be harder because once you get to like day 12, day 13, day 14, day 15, the people who are still alive and trying to win, a lot of times their boards are cracked.
Right.
And they've hit the nut. Like you're more likely to hit builds that have just hit the nuts.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's why winning those late days are harder. So if you can, prioritizing early day wins is never bad, especially if you're playing like ranked, because for me, when I'm playing ranked, I like it because like a 7-win game feels like a win. Like you don't have to get 10. So getting some early wins and being able to like scrape out 7 when you normally wouldn't have with like an okay board feels good. But in this case, 25 health versus the others, like it's not moving me enough. Something to keep in mind about the skills is the same way we were talking about the other vendor. For the first couple days, and especially day 1, right now you click him, you will only see bronze skills.
Yep.
And that's important because just like items, there are skills that only start at certain rarities. So the bronze skills available to you, you could maybe hit like one that gives like your leftmost item like +3 burn, which would be pretty good.
Yep.
But there are others that don't move the needle very much. And if they could end up being more helpful to your build, the likelihood that you find another skills vendor with that rarity to upgrade it means that whatever you grab now, you'd want to grab something that's good, but maybe not exactly what you're looking for.
Okay.
But granted, with bronze skills, a lot of them are very okay. With that said, I don't always skip it though.
Okay.
So you kind of just vibe it out. But also, if you are going skills, like if you were to click it right now and you didn't like the offerings, I would say just go to the next shop. Do not reroll.
Okay.
It's not worth that. And then you'll be at 0 gold. So that would be that. Otherwise, small and medium. I think honestly, I'd go 50-50. Like, if you chose this one, I don't think it's wrong. If you went with skills, I don't think it's wrong.
Okay. I'm kind of more of like an item guy, so I think I'm going to take the item.
Yeah, the skills, if you hit, could help with the day one win.
Okay.
But more likely, an item could.
Cannon. Chimera. Shoe blade. Okay. Well, we could get the cannon. I wouldn't be able to use it right now, but like when I'm high enough level to just add some more burn and some like quicker damage could be kind of cool. If I want to have something immediately for this upcoming fight, I feel like I would take probably shoe blade. Chimera, I've never, like 9 seconds to slow one item for 1 second. Sure, at the start of each fight, use it, but this to me, like, needs to be with like a whole bunch of other clams and fish and all that kind of stuff to even remotely consider wanting to get it.
Yeah, Chimera is really good in certain builds, and it's can almost be, you know, some people, oh, it's broken, because at the start of each fight, like, that's why you use it. You don't use it for the after 9 seconds, you know, something's going to happen. And while it can't be disruptive, yeah, like you said, day one fight, cool, I slow 1 second, or one item for 1 second, and that's probably all I'm doing with it.
Right.
So in this case, I would take the shoe blade, because you can slot it on your board.
Okay.
Because we know since you didn't get another XP encounter, and right after this is a PvP fight.
Yeah, because we're
seeing that you have two missing,
or final hour.
Yeah, seeing that you have 2 missing XP slots means that you won't level up, right?
So
now, I would have said you could have also bought the cannon, but yes, we're trying to win right now. I would have also bought the cannon to put in the storage.
That's fair.
Because after this fight, you could immediately slot it.
I didn't even think about that.
It's not like it's not make or break, but it's just that little bit because like now, headed into the next day, you can slot it, and maybe that's one shop you don't have to go to, and you can take something else.
Yeah. All right. Let's see how this
but
goes.
It's not a huge deal.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Usually, just in the shop, I'm just like, there's just so many interactions where it's just like one thing, and that's it. Okay. They got something cooking here already.
They're level 1 as well. But given the trebuchet,
I think they're going to run out of steam.
Yeah, especially if the revolver does not crit, it won't reload.
We just win anyway.
Yeah,
with the burn. Okay.
Silver trebuchet right now
kind of pogging.
One of the best items, yeah, you can get for like day one. So
yeah. Okay, so now we have a level up. 2 cinders, burn, ammo item, upgrade your leftmost bronze tier, get a friend. My instinct right now, considering what we're trying to do, would be probably cinders. I don't think I'm going to do upgrade bronze because this thing is not going to stick around. Get a friend's just kind of a YOLO. Ammo item, we're not really working with ammo right now, and then obviously scrap is not something that we have right now. I mean, I literally have some here, but like I have no shield items to use on.
Yeah. So one thing to remember, I'm agreeing with you, but like in your stash, for instance, you have that bronze pelt. You could always put that out here and upgrade that. So sometimes if you had if you had a bronze cooldown right now, I'd probably be like, hey, friggin' upgrade to silver, sure.
Yeah.
So you always remember, like, you can bring things out from your inventory. And just in case we don't find the level up option, there's also one that says upgrade your leftmost silver weapon or item. That can also upgrade a bronze. Even though it says so. So just know it can upgrade bronze or silver, up to silver.
Okay.
Which can be important. But yeah, I'm agreeing with you. The ammo item, the only one that could be a consideration for is because most ammo stuff are weapons. So there's a good chance you get something that would directly help the trebuchet. But like you said, as long as there are these upgrade things, which is why right now like burn and poison builds are crazy, being able to guaranteed get you loot items. And something else to remember is in the current patch, when you grab monster loot from level ups, days 1 through 3 they'll be bronze, days 4 through 7 I believe they'll be silver, and then 8 after they'll gold. Okay. So right now you'll get 2 bronze cinders, that's plus 2 burn, and what's crazy about that is if you were to upgrade the trebuchet, it gets like plus 3 plus 4 burn, or for a lot of items they wouldn't even get plus 2 when they leveled up.
Okay.
So that's why something like the burn right now is good, especially in the case of burn, because it ticks so fast, it ticks every half second. The more you have, the likelier it is that the next time you activate your burn, you're able to stack it.
Yeah. Okay.
So Yeah, I agree with you.
All right. I am gonna hold them until we have some sort of a battle. I mean, I'll keep them on the board, just kind of flex on them right now.
Let them know.
Okay, so we do have a small burn item, and we are playing with some burn. Non-weapon items I'm not super interested in, but this is more XP, and I feel like we want XP.
Yep, the small burn item while you all are working with burn. Also sort of another knowledge thing. The things in the pool right now, majority of the burn items you're going to get are non-weapons. You'll get like a lighter or pop snappers or something that just aren't weapons.
Okay.
So the other options, if that middle one maybe wasn't as enticing, you still maybe go small burn because it would help you right now in the next fight.
Right.
But it all boils down to XP, brother.
All right, XP. Boom. Abandoned chest, silver tier items, chocolate bars.
This is a toughie.
I don't know. I don't remember exactly what's in the lost crate, but I'm sure that's just something you could look up to be like, what's in the lost crate? Silver tier items, I only have 10 money. And I think silver tier items are 8 usually? Something like that?
Depends on the tier. Small items are 4, medium are 8, large are 12.
Right. Okay. And then chocolate. I feel like I most of the time just sleep on chocolate bars because again, it kind of goes back to the same thing. Cool, I'm getting like 30 health. Wow, crazy. Compared to something else where like I might be able to get a build defining item or skill or weapon or like whatever.
Yeah. Especially the options that are like get 3 chocolate bars are even worse than the one that's like get 5 free chocolate bars.
Right.
That one is one that could be argued to take more often. But yeah, like bronze tier chocolate bars, unless the others are absolute dog, or I have like, in this case, like no money, and they're both vendors, I would grab that. The lost, or whatever the fudge, the lost crate has gain 2 gold and 1 XP, which is just a better jungle.
Okay.
So I usually always take that.
Okay.
The other encounters that you usually take, though, would be Sterling, which is silver tier items. Now, if your board was weak, I think I'd go silver tier items. Because you also have to remember you have 10 gold, but you're also sitting on like 8 you can sell between the scrap, the pelt, and the 2 cinders.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a problem of money so much. You probably, again, wouldn't re-roll unless, again, your board was pretty desperate. But because you're in a pretty strong position, I think you could go with either, but I would still lean into gold and XP.
Say no more. Okay. I don't like fighting the giant mosquito because the sound design of the giant mosquito is so good that I literally like want to take off my headset when I fight giant mosquito. So please don't tell me this is like the best one.
I hate to break it to you. It's in the running.
Okay.
So day 2 fights, and as we see some of them, I'll try to point them out. There are a lot of baits. So typically every PvE fight, the left and the middle will give the same amount of XP. The difference will be a matter of 1 gold. And so like in this case, it's the exact same. You get 3 gold and 2 XP or 4 gold and 2 XP. Then the right is always a sort of like push your luck harder fight.
Right. Yeah.
Now, that's not always the case because there are some things that do better against certain builds. So, for instance, like the Lich, which is a fight way later on, is hard to beat, but impossible if you use a lot of non-weapon items. But if you have a board full of weapons, it's realistic you might beat the Lich.
Yeah.
And so there are certain builds like that where like you need to make sure like there's another shield one we might encounter where they do damage according to their shield. So if you're a poison build, you're never taking down their shield. So you either hope you poison them real fast or you're going to die. So that's things you try to think of, but the scrapper or whatever his name is on day 2 almost never do. Again, your board has to be insane and it's not worth risking it.
Okay.
Then in the middle, on day 2, there's 2 encounters it could be. It could be this one or he's like a panda fella. The panda fella's the high roll.
Okay. Tent City Mayor.
Yes, Tent City Mayor. So he's currently the high roll because he gives, ironically, one of the best skills in the game, which is augmented weapons. When you sell a small item, give all your weapons +1 damage and it stacks.
Oh, yeah, I see.
And yeah. So that one, especially as Vanessa, you always go just to try to get the skill.
Okay.
Because that can be build defining. In this case, the Covetous Thief got some decent items for some decent gold, but he does a fair amount of damage. I think you'd beat him.
Okay.
But when I'm erring on the side of like, I don't know, the Mosquito's never bad because there's a chance you get some cooldown wings.
Okay.
Isn't bad. Now for the Trebuchet, there's a small chance the Covetous Thief could drop the Shadowed Cloak, which is when you use the item to the right of this. Haste it. So that could help your Trebuchet. So if you wanted to try to roll for that, you could.
Okay.
Or if you want to go with the safe play, the Giant Mosquito, especially day 2 Giant Mosquito, is one of those almost impossible to lose to as well. So if you got a down bad board,
Okay.
just know you can probably beat Giant Mosquito.
I feel like we could probably win against the Thief with this. And here, you know what I'll even do? I'll sell a Cinder. How about that?
I'd send both now.
Send them? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go for it. How much health you got? You have 400 health. Okay.
He has 400, but the sneaky thing is that by the time the sandstorm hits, that dagger will be like 100 damage.
Yeah.
So if you have any shields or healing, it makes this fight a lot easier. But in your case, well, we already know.
Yeah, we should
Trebuchet real
be
nice
okay
way.
here. Yeah. Okay. So we would love the Shadowed Cloak.
There says.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Pickpocket. All right,
So,
free
at the
money.
start of each fight, yeah, you gain a gold. Something to note too, and I'm sure it's pretty intuitive for most people, but I'll just tell them just in case. When you go to a monster fight as well, you're like, oh, I hope I get this diamond skill. Yeah, it's a diamond skill, so it's going to have the least amount of chance to drop. I don't know the weight of it, but it essentially does a check. The first thing it does is rolls and goes, what rarity are we going to give them? Bronze, okay? And then, of the bronze items, what are we going to give them?
Yeah.
So, in this case against Covetous Thief, the Shadow Cloak was one of the most likely options because it was bronze. So, that's something to keep in mind when you are, like, it's different when you're like, oh, I want that diamond skin, and you click it knowing you have like a 0% chance.
Yeah.
But if you're clicking it because like, oh, I'm going to get the diamond skill, that's when you just want to be like, oh, okay, is it worth the risk? And that's just something to think about.
Funnily enough, the PvE thing that I mentioned a little while ago that dropped the item 2 times in a row was a diamond tier item. I hate that this is off center. It's not even close. Here, it should be here. All right.
All right. Report the bug.
Okay. I don't know what this actually means. Eat at blanks to get max health. It just, I'm increasing my maximum health then, I'm guessing.
So, yeah, this is one, once you've seen the encounter, you would know what it does.
Okay.
He gives 3 options. All of them are gain 5% max health. But then 3 different options. It's that and give your shield items plus 10 shield, or give your healing items plus 20 heal, or give yourself 5 regen.
Okay.
Later on, 5 regen feels real bad. But day 1 or day 2, that's almost always instant take for me. Because 5 regen, day 1, day 2,
Yeah.
could win you the game. Even a terrible board. Yeah, unless they're able to burn through you faster than you're regaining, 5 health every half second, it's a pretty big deal.
All right.
So although weapons, I mean, it's sort of like,
we do want to
okay,
fill the board for sure.
right. Like, we could make our board better, or you get 5% and 5 regen. They're both, you're taking both with the hopes of winning your next fight. So they both sort of achieve the same goal.
Okay. I've never actually taken this before, so I'm going to take it just to see what we got going on. Okay. So we're going to take the regeneration.
Yeah.
We've leveled up. Okay, well, we can immediately lose our health to do that. Med kit, aquatic items. Okay, appraisal seems terrible. We have no aquatic items. We have no healing items. We could just get a free aquatic item because we need to really start filling the board. No pain, no gain seems pretty good early, and much later on seems terrible because 10 damage, when you're trying to do like 2,000 is like whatever. But like 10% max health right now, we're only losing 40 something health, 41, 42 health to give 10 damage. So a 20% increase and some crit.
Yeah, so you're exactly right in that no pain, no gain early, especially if you're doing like weapons, pretty easy take. But later on, when it's suddenly like 400 health for 10 damage, it's like,
Yeah,
that
great,
doesn't feel really good.
thanks.
Now, taking it right now, unfortunately, you don't have a lot, so you don't get quite as much value.
Yeah.
I don't think it's terrible. And frankly, yeah, most of your other options are terrible. So I think it's between that or getting just a free aquatic item.
Yeah.
More than likely, it's not a weapon, but something to put on your board. And at the very least, 1 or 2 gold. But I think you could do either that or the no pain, no gain. Because even like that, okay, I'm sacrificing 41 health for a win.
Yeah.
Like ideally is
But
this early how I sort of look at it. Yeah.
get a burn item. Okay. Bronze tier skills, medium items. Something else that I also learned was that the border or like the effect around one of these 3 options is the rarity. So like this is a bronze tier event. This is a bronze tier event. This is a gold event. So the rarity of it is but it's showing the rarity, not how good the event actually is, just how rare it is. Is that correct?
Yeah. So something important, you'd be like, wait, we got a burn item before and it was blue. So that was get a small burn item. So this is a different encounter that's get a burn item. So it could be medium or large, which is why it's rarer. But people get hung up on that fact of like, oh, I'm going to get a gold burn item. Unfortunately, that's not how that works.
Yeah,
it could be bronze. It could be garbage.
I did think that when I was seeing these.
But simply, yeah, that's all it means is the likelihood that that encounter shows up. So gold is obviously rare. Bronze, you'll find tons of them. Blue is a little rarer. And then diamond is really rare. But also don't let that trap you. Just because it's rare doesn't mean it's better. Or in this case, like, just because you found a diamond thing, like sometimes you're doing, you know, like a freaking, like your pig and you got like healing or something. And it's like, hey, here's a diamond poison vendor. Well, you're probably not poisoning. You have bad ways to scale poison. So like, cool. But unfortunately, I'm actually just going to take like 5 free chocolate bars.
Yeah.
Because there's just like nothing to gain. So in this case, you could roll it. It could be a weapon, but actually, given what we've done, level 3, you got regen, you got some money. I would look to get medium items to fill out the rest of your board because you can fit 2 more.
Okay, I figured it was going to be in between one of these two because I need to get stuff on the board. Like if we're getting all this XP and we're not putting stuff on the board, what are we getting the XP for?
These are
okay.
So, unfortunately, dog.
Yeah.
Especially the rifle. It's unfortunate you got a weapon, but the whole shtick is it'll reload itself if it's your only weapon. So
yeah. So
that's not really going to work. So you could, worst case, buy the fishing rod every 8 seconds. It'll at least.
I mean, this is not even an aquatic item.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean, it would have to go on this. Have another
True. So you could like buy both of those and slot those just in case the next one's that bad. But I would probably just gamble the reroll. And odds are you find 2 that you'll want to put on the board more than this is, I think, pretty high.
Yeah. Okay, so Star Chart I know is good because there's I think a Vanessa-specific event that's like work at the docks, and if you have a Star Chart, you get access to a better thing. So part of me just wants to scoop this just to have it.
So you could scoop that and even just
I mean, we could literally even use it, yeah.
Yeah, you could use it or just throw it in your stash because, yeah, there are a couple items like that where, again, people are like, well, how would I ever know that? Well, you just learn.
Yeah, it's something you would learn over time.
You run into it.
Yeah, but hey, if I can learn that, you can learn that.
Wow. So then the other for sure take would be the weapon.
This guy?
Yeah, Shark Claws. 4-second cooldown activating. Nice. Gives a little bit of extra damage.
How do you feel about destroy an items?
They can be really strong, which is also why they also usually seem really bad.
Yeah.
The harpoon in this case, every time you level it up, the cooldown just gets lower, so it's like 5 seconds at diamond. There are items that let you increase its ammo, and early on, sometimes like that harpoon going off in a day 2 fight, if they have 1 or 2 small items, could just like, you know,
win you the game.
destroy whatever they were trying to do. So if you wanted, you get the Shark Claws, put that in, put the Star Chart in the stash, and get the harpoon. Or you could just
I think I'm just
keep the shark claws, keep the money. Yeah.
I'm grabbing the claws. We're going to switch this over here because I want this going off a lot faster because this is going to give us some cooldown. This is now down to 6.6, and this is 3.6. So, yeah, we're looking we're looking not too shabby here. We're going to just double check the stash. Yeah, we still have those. Okay, battle.
I think your board's strong. And this is where some people get hung up, though. They're like, how could I have lost? Your board's strong. There's a chance somebody's board is stronger.
Okay. Well, they're looking to one-shot me here. I think this is the one counter to what we got going on. And they froze my trebuchet.
Classic.
Although we did manage to hit.
You did get the crit, and that's going to probably be all take.
Yeah. We got Easy, another crit there. 20%, 10. Yeah, we got very lucky on the crits. The crits saved us there.
Yeah, the thing for people to keep in mind too is when you go up against battles and you're like, man, I had a strong build. Why'd I get 9 wins? Well, look back at some of your opponents, and unfortunately, it's a game of RNG with ghosts. Realistically, you could have a mediocre board and fight mediocre or worse opponents every day. Just get lucky. How did I get 10 wins? Sometimes you have the board of your life.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, as long as I don't fight this one specific build, I'm good. Oh, it's that one specific build. I lost.
Yeah.
That's just part of it. It's frustrating, but once you understand that, like, it goes both ways and, like, it's out of your control, that'll sort of help.
That's when you're truly free.
Yeah, when you've really established Zen.
You ascended to Bazaarhood.
That's how you actually rank up.
How bizarre. All right. Poison skills. We are not going for poison. So it's between small and medium items or a small non-weapon item. This is free, but you only just get the one, and it could be just complete penile garbage. I'm leaning towards Quixel just to see what's there.
Yep. In this case, one, especially the fact that it's a non-weapon. Right now, you're fishing for weapons. The poison one, this is like one of those things, and it was good. Like, you didn't fall for the trap. Oh, it's rare. Yeah, but like that's just not what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm not doing poison.
Yeah.
And I'm also not trying to like rotate over to poison when we have something good going on right now.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, it was the exact way I would have thought about it.
Okay. Okay, we got beach ball. See, okay, something that's kind of getting... I don't know if this is just like a visual glitch. I hover over beach ball. It says haste 1 aquatic item for 2 seconds, but it also is highlighting this, but in green. I don't know if that's just like a visual glitch, a bug, something.
I believe it's just because the blue is this item will affect this. Green is this item will benefit from this. So beach ball is hasting. Hasting benefits the trebuchet.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's highlighting the shark claws because that's your only aquatic item.
Right.
So the beach ball can haste the shark claws, and the trebuchet likes them.
I got it. Okay. So beach ball seems pretty friggin' good.
That and katana. Katana is one of the best weapons to pair with trebuchet.
Oh,
since
yeah, because it's just stab, 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 stab. Well, not stab, but
yeah, I think it's
slice.
the fastest. I mean, aside from like getting crits on throwing knives, the just fastest rotating weapon.
Yeah.
For Vanessa.
Okay.
So, and then the beach ball, it works out that you currently have shark claws. You could upgrade this, find something else, and be able to slot that in. But right now, putting the katana on the board for sure seems good. And then the beach ball you can hold on to, and once you expand your board space, if you don't find something better,
yeah,
beach ball wouldn't hurt.
That would be my vibe. Okay. All right, pretty good shot.
And then this is, and right there, you did the right thing, but that's where some people fall in the bait. Cool, let me reroll and see what they have.
Dude, I got $5 left, man. What am I gonna buy?
You got 5 gold, and what do you want to sell? So it's like,
yeah,
you can reroll.
I do have some cash, but yeah, no, I just, I found 2 especially good things. After getting Let's 2 not hits. Push the luck. Get an item, bronze tier skills, medium items. Okay, so we just did a lot of shopping. We don't have, I mean, we have 1 skill, but it's just get money. And we also only have 5. I forget how much bronze skills are. I want to say they're 3. So we, I mean, yeah, we have 6 money worth of stuff to sell if we wanted to get a skill, but also get an item to me is just not that enticing because it could be literally anything. It's just pure gamba.
Yeah. In this case, I think even like a not super impactful bronze skill is still nice. And the reason I would take the get an item is if you're poor and your board doesn't full, you're like, almost anything could be an upgrade from what I have.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't think you're in that spot. So I would at least go here. And it's also important to note, find the skills. You don't have to buy one.
Right. Okay, medium burn item. Okay, well, this is a large item, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Sell a weapon, gain 10 health. Leftmost damage. You get 2. And then when you buy a weapon, increase by 2. The first time you use a large item, slow one item for 5 seconds. This seems like what we want to take.
Both those right ones are really good.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron, can scale. So you get more value, obviously, the earlier you get it. Whereas the large one is not only helpful, but there are a lot of free skills where it's like the first time you slow, freeze, and now you have a guaranteed way to activate slow.
Yeah.
So I think you could argue for either one.
Which one would you take?
I'd probably just go a little more aggressive.
Okay.
With the iron sharpens iron. But there is probably some runs where I'm also vibing the slow. Like, I think it's pretty close, but because it's day 3, if this were day 4 or day 5, I'd lean towards net launcher. But knowing it's day 3 and the value I can get out of iron sharpens iron this early,
yeah,
I think that's why I'm
that's the direction I was leaning as well. Yeah, if this was showing up much later, I'd probably take the net launcher, but we're still early. We still have a chance to like actually make a difference with this thing. I think we get it. Okay, Rogue Scrapper, Dabbling Apprentice, and Eccentric Aetheryte. So this just seems like we gotta look up what drops what and see what can actually contribute to the run. So I'm scrolling.
It's important to note,
looking.
Dabbling Apprentice, it's on the left, but it's one of the hardest fights in this for day 3. So people get debated. He just does a lot of burn and a lot of damage fast. So ironically, he's kind of tough if you don't have like shields or something.
Okay.
The right fight is the one I mentioned. They do all their damage based on their shield.
Okay.
So if you're unable to cycle damage faster than they can cycle shields, you'd struggle.
Okay.
Whereas now, day 3, even though it's a 1-day difference, Rogue Scrapper is a lot easier than it was day 2. Just because of more items, more health.
Okay.
You know. So yeah, if you're looking at it, what do you vibe?
Well, first I'm vibing putting in the katana. I'm vibing that. So Eccentric does drop a skill at the start of each fight, haste 2 items for 3 seconds. If we did manage to get that, that would be sick. Otherwise, the Rogue Scrapper drops a lot of shield-based stuff. There's, I mean, at the start of a fight, slow an item for 3 seconds is a good skill, but like everything else feels more, you know, it's like a friend build, or it's like a shield or health restoration or something like that. And then we have the Apprentice, who I'm looking for, Dabbling Apprentice. First time you fall below 50% each, 50% health each fight, reload 2 items. We are not really reloading anything right now. And then all of their stuff are also more ammo items. So really what I want to do is the Eccentric. I just don't know if I can handle them at our current, in our current build right now. What do you think? Could I handle it?
I think you could. The Rogue Scrapper, whenever, regardless of your build, when you're looking here, Dabbling Apprentice, very situational. Rogue Scrapper is a good, I don't know. Like, I'm unsure if I can beat Eccentric.
Okay.
Or there's nothing I need from Eccentric. Now, the skill you mentioned was a good shout because that is, one, the bronze item, and I think everything else they have is above. So, actually, the most likely thing you could get from her is that skill, which is good.
Okay.
So that would be the only option if, like, you're otherwise, like, I don't care about shield because all their items are shield-based. It would either be, I know I can beat it, so I'll go for that skill. Otherwise, I'm unsure. Rogue Scrapper, like you said, it's a bunch of junk. That might just help. Like, there's one, the club, where it's like, sell this. Give your weapons, like, +8 damage.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a chance you just get something worth it. But in this case, I think if you replace the star chart with the Shark Claw, so instead of the 10% cooldown, just another activation while also scaling your damage in the fight. I think, yeah, could do enough.
Okay.
Not to mention, this is where that 5 regen actually plays a pretty big part.
Okay, let's try it. Let's try it. Because burn also hits shield.
It does.
So,
but an interesting interaction to remember is burn does half damage to shields.
Ah, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. So shields are supposed to be a direct counter. However, if you're like Dooley and can stack like 500 burn, well, good luck stacking enough shield to stop it.
Right.
But yes, it's supposed to be. So like, if you didn't have other weapons here, or you were alt burn, I would not have fought this person unless you're like Dooley burn core and you know you're gonna get bigger.
Yeah.
So you end up getting barbed wire, not the skill.
Yeah, and
it
also
is what it is.
Just not very good. So, but we did get a level up, and we have enough.
It is actually better though than your shoe blade, since it's a 2-second faster weapon right now.
Ah, yeah, and we're looking for
So
activations.
Just in that merit, it's currently better. But.
Okay. We can get a weapon. Upgrade leftmost bronze tier item. This is, upgrade bronze. A sharpening stone for some damage. Aquatic items, get a friend. I'm skipping on the get a friend. I'm trying to think of, like, what our board is going to look like right now. Like, hypothetically, it could look something like this. Haste 1 aquatic item. So we could do something like this. And if this is kind of what we're after, what would I want to do? I mean, I'd probably want to upgrade my leftmost bronze tier item and maybe make the beach ball. Is this going to go to haste 2 aquatic items for 2 seconds, or is it going to go haste? Okay, so we only have 1 aquatic item right now. That's not to say we couldn't get another one in the future. So having beach ball juiced up there would be nice. Star chart, I think, is going to go to 15% on both of these things, which is also not bad, but I don't know if we're even really using star chart right now. So, ipso facto, vis-a-vis, if we stuck with this, now we have 2 things that can get a cooldown reduction by 3%. That's a little more value. I'm kind of at a loss here. I think there's a lot of viable things. I just don't know I just don't know how viable they actually are.
Yeah, so this one helps to know, too, when you're like, okay, so this beach ball, if I upgrade it, what the heck does it do? There's a website called howbazaar.gg where it's just a database. And you just click in, you search like beach ball, and it'll go beach ball. Here's what it does at bronze, and if you upgrade it to silver, gold, diamond, and if you enchant it, this is what it'll do. So that helps a whole bunch rather than just like YOLO. And you can do that, especially when you're learning the game, but like later on, or like it's a really pivotal decision you need to make with like an enchantment. It's always good just to double check. Okay. In this case, this would be a case of knowing where you're going, especially with Trebuchet build. Shark Claws are one of the few, if not possibly, aside from Piranhas, I think the only aquatic weapon.
Okay.
So the likelihood we're going to be putting another aquatic weapon is pretty low. And since it doesn't increase haste duration, that's why I wouldn't. In fact, if I were to go for bronze tier, I wouldn't go Katana. I'd go Shark Claws right now, simply because it helps scale more. Okay. It'll be your weapons gain 6 damage for the fight. Whereas upgrading the Katana, I think, gives it like 10 more base damage for now. Yeah.
But we're using the Katana for the cooldown, not necessarily the damage size. I mean, right now any damage is helpful, but like later on, we want it for the cooldown.
Yeah, which is why right now, because like thinking about possible in-game board and just from what I know and like thinking about, okay, like this is probably what I'm shooting for. The Katana very well could be there at the end of the game, but you're right. It's not necessarily going to be doing the damage, and if it is, it's because of probably skills or something we got.
Yeah.
Right now, we're looking for stronger board, and right now you get more value out of, well, I guess you could, and this is where it gets tricky too. Inherently, it sounds like 6 damage for the fight is better, but then you think about it. Okay, so sure, but then every 4 seconds I'm gaining 6 versus 10 on a Katana, which is activating every 2 seconds. So
yeah, you gotta do some point DPS calculations.
At some point in the fight, the Shark Claws are better versus the Katana and vice versa. So that's when you can really get into like the Okay, well, let me look it up.
I've done those calculations before. I'm like, okay, well, it's 2 seconds and it's dealing 10 damage every 2 seconds, so that's 5 DPS versus the other thing that. Yeah, it's a lot of math that you can get into.
But looking at the board, if you want to go with the upgrade, I think Shark Claws also works right now just because it's getting hasted from the Beach Ball.
Okay.
So you will get more value out of its activation. The Sharpening Stone is not so good. It's not bad if you didn't have other options, but right now 2 bronze, each one gives like 3 damage, so it's plus 6 damage to something.
Okay.
Which adds up, and especially in like one weapon builds, you take that a lot more because you just need to juice it as much as possible.
Right.
But yeah, right now that versus the value you'll get from Shark Claws, knowing that you're probably going to get rid of Shark Claws at some point, it just is
it's the win now thing.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we just feel about something like this feels like if your whole board's aquatic, then maybe take it, or do you ever take this at all ever?
If you're going aquatic, I mean, there are times, I'm level 14 taking an upgrade like this. That is, yeah, if you're like mostly an aquatic build. Okay. Or there'll be an upgrade like your burn items get 3% reduction.
Yeah.
It's rare I take it, but sometimes if all the other options are that bad, or just like that, like you have a full board of like 7 aquatic items. That's just a lot of value.
Right. Yeah. Small friend, chocolate bars, large items. I don't think maybe a large item here could be some kind of a difference maker here, but I'm pretty low on money, and like we got something good going on right now, so like I kind of want to see how it goes. And then otherwise, small friend would literally just be, I think, probably money. And then this is free chocolate bars, potentially. Or, if we want to buy them. I don't have a lot of money, so I would probably take the free ones, which would be about what? 10
50 health.
Times 5, 50 health.
Yeah. So this is sort of a current patch situation. So pull, like last patch, you saw pull, you just went to pull.
Interesting.
But they nerfed him. And hopefully they make it a little more obvious in the future. But so pull is a vendor that you cannot reroll on. So you go in there knowing you got 3 options. That's all you're going to find. And then this is another instance of rarities. Most likely you're going to find 3 bronze large items. One of them might be silver. And one of them could be trebuchet, which would be cool. The other large items, so I'll just tell you, knowing the build you're looking for, you're going to be looking for water wheel, which is a large aquatic item. And that would be Pog, but the likelihood you find it, this is one of those pro versus con of like, if I hit versus if I don't. And I don't think we're in a desperate enough spot. And I think we have enough days and encounters ahead of us that we can look to find water wheel another time. And the 50 health, I think, is actually pretty helpful. So yeah. And then when going to chocolate bars, you almost always just take free unless you're like 30 plus, 40 plus gold.
Yeah, unless you're
you don't really
rich
have
daddy.
to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, make sure you just got 5
Something
spots.
that I've also learned is that if you don't have the space to hold on to all 5, it's just going to fill whatever you have left and you lose the rest.
Yeah. You'll just miss out.
Technically, I can't hold it. Okay, weapons. Okay, we got more XP. Small shield item. I think we're chasing down more XP.
Yeah, the weapon vendor isn't bad, especially, considering, we're looking for weapons. But right now, like you said, the possibility that we upgrade our current board is possible, but slim, and I don't think it's going to push the needle that much, whereas 2 gold and especially 1 XP will for sure help later on.
Okay.
So I'm with you. It's evaluating your board state like you've been doing and being like, okay, I think we're pretty good. There's not much I'm looking for right now or like things I'm desperate for. So rather than that and searching for just a random upgrade, taking these guaranteed things that will make you more powerful.
Yeah.
And then you don't regret later on.
All right, let's sell these chocolate bars as we're going into battle. And let's get it. Do we want to make any other adjustments? I think we're kind of leaving it as is. We could probably sell the shoe blade at some point, but haste one aquatic item. Okay, yeah, let's give it a go.
So the beach ball is nice because every time it goes off, it charges. And then it
the
makes
trebuchet.
the shark claws a 2-second cooldown, which is a faster weapon charge. So yeah.
So they have a very similar setup, but our trebuchet is doing a whole hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
Compared to them.
Look at what they need to mimic a fraction of our power.
That was not even close. And also, we have a level advantage. So we have 2 small items or 1 medium item extra value over them, kind of showcasing why XP is potentially so important.
Yep. And another reason, too, is somebody be like, okay, well, now I'm level 4. My board's full. So I'm no longer getting as much value. Like, my board space isn't increasing.
Caught.
Guilty. Yep. Another thing to think about, though, is, and it's changed from patches. Used to be there's a different breakpoint. But currently, as it stands, at level 11, you get a guaranteed upgrade that's just upgrade your leftmost weapon. So, or item. So it's a upgrade a free item of whatever you want to whatever rarity. Like 1 rarity.
Yeah. So
knowing that that's coming can be really important. And the faster you get there, especially if you have a rarer item and you're like, oh, if I could get this up early. So faster 11 is not bad. And then if the game goes on later, you don't always hit this, but 16 is when you get a choice of 3 enchantments, which is huge.
Yeah.
16 is a huge breakpoint.
I just want to point out that in this one game, we have done better than I have done in like most of my games all time.
For what it's worth, I can't take all the credit. It's trebuchet.
Yeah, true. Okay, health, toughness, shield items, chocolate bars. Start your next fight with 100 shield per level. This feels something... this is like kind of a win more thing, but I think the other 2 options need to be absolute doo-doo for me to want to take these, unless I'm just so far ahead that I'm just like, you know what do you do when you're winning? Win more, baby.
You're not exactly wrong, especially because right now you could make a different case for this if this was the round after PvE and you're getting that shield for PvP. I mean, right now that's essentially double your health for the next PvP fight, which is insane.
Yeah.
Early on, that's pretty good.
But
and like I would click that because exactly. If this was after, I'm like, oh, that's just a win your next PvP fight almost, 80% of the time.
Interesting. Okay.
The other option is you take it, funnily enough, if you're down bad. You have a rough board and you know the PvE fight's coming up and you're like, I don't even know if I can beat like the easiest fight.
Yeah.
You would take that. So the times I've taken that shield before a PvE fight is very like once or twice.
Okay.
There are cases for it, but yeah, most of the time before PvE, you don't worry about it. Kev's Armory, again, I wish they would show it. Most of these, especially the specialized vendors, won't have rerolls.
Okay.
So Kev's Armory can be good, and you could even find enchanted shield items. But knowing that you get 3 items, there's a wide variety. So, like, if you're looking for something specific, cool. In our case, with the trebuchet build, I don't think there's a single health, toughness, or shield item we're looking for.
Yeah, we're kind of unga bunga.
And so, yeah, we go chocolate bars, and again, we go free.
Okay.
Even at 70.
We still have the 5 spots. I need to free up at least a couple if I have any sort of, sell an item to do a thing here. Okay, work the docks. I don't think we're doing a friend. We don't really need weapon. Work the docks. We have the star chart.
There we go. Yep.
So this is like absolutely
a specific
just a knowledge check.
Yes.
So if we didn't have a star chart, we would not have this. Otherwise, it would 2 gold shield item, 2 gold tool, 2 gold weapon.
Right.
But we have the star chart, and the XP is gimme.
And what's even crazier is last patch, it was gain 5 gold and 2 XP. No, I think it was gain 7 gold and 2 XP.
I was going to say, I remember it being 2 XP.
Yeah, so, which is...
If anything, goes to show how good getting XP actually is.
Yeah. In fact, to demonstrate that even more, there used to be a vendor where it was like, get XP, and then you could gain 5 gold to get another XP for 2. They just completely took that vendor out of the game. They're like, that's
too good.
Now hold on a minute.
Yeah.
And also why
4,
some
5,
people 7. Try to look at XP as essentially 5 gold value, because that last vendor was for an extra XP. For 5 gold, you'll get another XP. So some people also rationalize XP in a way of like, this is 5 gold. I don't look at it quite that like black and white.
Okay.
But a good way to kind of think about it.
Okay. So we have the Raider, who has a couple of, weapon damage skills, which could be nice. They have some shield stuff, and it looks like they have a lifesteal revolver. Then we have the Outlands Dervish. Your items have 6% crit chance, skill, and then just like some vendor items. Although they do have an item called Clockwork Blades. When you sell this, reduce your items cooldown by 2%. Not bad. And then the Giga Boy over here, who I'm probably not going to fight because I'm just scared. What level are they? 7? They are level 7. I'm trying to find it. Level 7. They are called the Giga Boy. They are called Hydro Dude. When you slow, your weapons gain +3 damage for the fight. Not a great skill right now. When you slow, your items gain 2% crit chance for the fight. So we don't have any slow effects right now. We could maybe eventually get some slow effects, but if, I'm not really like trying to build on maybe. So if anything, I feel like I might want to take on the Duelist.
So this one, and it's important to know about this fight. So hover over that fight.
This guy?
So unlike others, he's offering 4 XP rather than 3. So he's offering 1 extra and a little gold. And the rarity of his items, there's a good chance, even if you don't get something you want, it's some good gold.
Yeah.
Now, the important thing to know about Hydro Dude, like you just mentioned, you read the skills. When you slow, get crit chance. When you slow, get damage. Now, read what Electric Eels does. It should tell you what his Electric Eels do.
Oh, yeah. This is when your enemy uses a weapon, deal 5 damage. When they use a non-weapon item, slow it for a second. So this would be slow whenever it's activated. And then anytime I activate something here, I'm going to take 5 damage. It is just 5 right now. I mean, I will say, like, yeah, we do have a lot of things going off, but he has a lot of weak items, and I feel like we can maybe burst them.
Well, here's the tech. This is sort of like the Lich I was talking about. This guy's a lot easier with weapons.
Okay.
So I would probably even just take out the beach ball.
Really?
Because if you're only using weapons... So the whole reason he gets insane is every time you use a non-weapon, he gains damage and crit because the eels are activating the slow every single time. But it's probably scary like, oh, but if I get weapons, I take damage. Yeah, but if you never get slowed, his damage never increases. So it's 5 damage every time.
Okay.
So with that, I think you have a chance. And in this case, knowing like that 2% knives are meh. And the Blood Reef Raider, you're not looking for any specific item from him. So in this case, the possibility to get 4 XP is nice. Now, it's important to understand limits and board. And just like this, like I fought the Hydro Dude enough. That's like, okay, this is what he's trying to do. If I can do this, the fight should be easier.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to just go, ooh, more XP. I'm going to push my luck. And I'm going to gamba. And I did that a lot when I was first playing. You just watch my videos and it always went terribly. But... that extra XP, if you know you can usually take the fight, and you get a fight that's, I almost always try to take it just for the extra 2-3 XP. And so in this case, yeah, I'm pretty confident, especially with the 5 regen, that you should be able to win.
Okay. I'm also putting Star Chart over here because, like, yes, this going from 2.0 to 1.8 is like nice
value,
but I think the slower something is, the more they're going to benefit from cooldown. IMO.
You already get it. Yep.
So,
and some people might be like, wait, the Star Chart isn't a weapon. Yes, but it's also not an active item.
Yeah, it has no timer on it.
So because of that, it doesn't, the eel won't, like, there's nothing to proc.
Because this is just, it's just always on. It's not an activation.
Yeah. And something to note too, like the Star Chart, some people are confused. That, like, the cooldown reduction only works when it's on the board. Most items only work when they're on the board. There are a couple that are like the lemonade stand and stuff that do work in your inventory, but 90% of items are on the board. So yeah, you can see here, the Manta Ray was scaling him, but that's it. So it just took way too long.
Yeah. And Electric Eels, like, that low, like 5 damage is just nothing. All right.
Yeah.
40 max health. All right.
Yeah. Not the best.
Yoink.
But it's not terrible.
But we got the XP.
And again, Yeah, the XP was the real thing we were going for.
Okay, so get a friend, not really. Income, I feel like, you know, we're day 4, we're kind of cruising along, but like still this kind of early, I feel like income's not bad. Obviously, we're not doing the scrap. Obviously, we're not doing the poison. So I'm kind of between cinders and sponsorship to income. You know, assuming this is gonna, well, we're day 4, so is this gonna be silver now, or is it still bronze?
It'll be silver.
Okay, so I'm kind of torn between the two. How do you feel about income? We haven't talked about income at all this whole time. The amount of gold you gain at the start of each day.
Yeah, there are, unless you're Pig, then Pig has a ton of different ways to increase his income, because Pig's all about gold, buying, selling items, blah, blah, blah. So if you're playing Pig, income's big, but there's also a lot more ways to increase income.
If you're playing Pig,
like
income
Dooley
is big.
and Vanessa, actually true. Dooley Vanessa, though, aside from this and like random encounter that's like game 1 income, this is pretty much the only way you gain income.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to come by.
Okay.
Now, with that said, I try to think about it like this. You got, you know, it's day 4. You haven't won. Ideally, we've won by, let's go day 12. Let's say maybe we lose a couple. So that's 8 more days of income. So that's about 16 gold in the long run.
Right.
It's not bad. The cinders, though, at silver, once you sell them, that's 4 immediate gold and 4 burn.
Which is pretty big.
With your current build, you know, 4 burn, I couldn't even put like money on it because can't really even
it's
buy
priceless.
It's essentially, I mean, that's about how much burn you would get upgrading the trebuchet.
Right.
And that's 12 silver.
Yoink.
Or 12 gold.
I'm gonna make the decision for you. Sell this. I mean, again, we can continue to hold on to some of these, but we really haven't been finding any sort of these, like, when you sell an item, gain some kind of effect thing. So I could just sell it right now. Same with coconut. We'll get through the next few things here. Okay, so is there ever a time where you're just like, maybe, I guess you would hit level 16 and that's when you would kind of stop caring about XP, but if you hit level 16, you're probably at the end of the run anyway.
Yeah, you're getting close. And the thing too is like people, and that's I think also why some people struggle, where it's like, well, like, look at my board, like it should have won. But sometimes like these small decisions where it's like, okay, but like when we made all these decisions, somebody would have maybe chose 4 vendors rather than all the guaranteed stuff we got.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, but my board's strong. But yeah, you like it, and I mean, you know, it stacks every day, every decision, which is why, you know, I still struggle. Because sometimes you look back and it's like, well, I wouldn't have known, but like realistically, that was a better play. Or like if I had done this, and XP's also that, like you said, like after 4, you notice it less. Well, it's like, well, I'm not getting more board space.
Right.
But so the way I think about it too is like anytime I hit like a level up right before a PvP fight, I'm like, every XP I took just helped because of that.
Yeah.
Like when you hit those breakpoints is when you notice and you're like, I hit this X amount faster because I took all this. But yeah, 16, you're usually far into the run, or you're zooming and like you're just crushing things usually.
Yeah.
Or you're right at the end, like you're on your last stand, you're praying to God, and unless that XP hits the next level for you, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So I would lean towards that, especially because again, these are non-weapons. Now granted, you will be looking for 2 specific non-weapon items. So it's a matter of, do we want to shoot for finding them now? And those 2 specific ones, I'll just let you know, are the captain's wheel and the water wheel.
Okay.
Those are 2 items that just make the trebuchet giga. And I believe they are only silver.
Okay.
So knowing you have a chance to find silvers now, and it's higher than it was. I would probably say it's like 50-50 bronze, 50 silver.
Okay.
And it's a medium and large item. So I wouldn't fault somebody for shooting for that right now. At the current juncture, I think going with XP and stuff is also fine because I think your board is okay.
Same.
And I think within maybe like the next day or 2, maybe starting like day 5, that's when you maybe start to fish a little, looking for those items. But right now, I think your board is, unless like, yeah, we find a high roll, I think you have a better than 50% chance to win the next PvP fight. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's like while we're still winning, just keep like increase our finances, increase our XP, things like that, while we increase the things that we can increase, as opposed to increasing the board to try to make us win more, because like we're already winning pretty well. Okay, Grandmaster showing up, monster loot, small burn item. Talk to me about the Grandmaster.
Grandmaster's pretty decent. So, but what you need to know about it is they give you 2 options and there's no rerolls.
Okay.
And you're not guaranteed. I mean, that's why it says a high chance of upgrade. So you're not guaranteed. And then usually when I take it too, I look at my skills and I'm like, okay, do I even care about upgrading? So there's a chance you upgrade it so where you get 2 gold at the start of a fight.
Yeah.
So like pickpocket, we're like, eh. But the chance to find silver iron sharpens iron, that's not bad.
Okay.
So, and then also knowing there's a chance you just find a random other skill, which at level 4 is probably bronze or silver. So that's not bad. And also the monster loot is not bad because of the odds of
getting silver.
Like one of the loots being, some sort of viable.
Okay.
So I think it's either way, because it's day 4 and you don't have any like juiced skills where you're like, oh, this will turn my build online, you know?
Yeah.
It's not an immediate take. Later on though, especially when you have a couple, Grandmaster could like set that skill to that next level that really helps you.
Yeah.
So I would leave it to you on this one, but I think you could go either way. I would probably lean Monster Ranch actually, but
I'm kind of leaning that way as well, because like if it does land on pickpocket, like okay, fine, another gold, whatever. Iron sharpens iron is like, it is a good skill, but like I don't know if it's like build defining.
certainly not with Trebuchet.
So I'm gonna go with the monster loot, and you say always get the max. Let's just sell off the coconut. I'm just gonna sell these off right now as well. Go for the max.
And always make sure before you click something like this, check your inventory.
Yep, make sure you have the
double
space.
check. Yeah, and it's easy, as I'm sure most people have seen, but you have the little pips above the chest as well. You can already see, oh, he has 5 empty.
Oh yeah.
He's like, okay,
bink,
I'm
bink,
good.
bink, bink, bink. All right, give me something good here. What do we get? Love that.
Poof.
Okay,
That's nice.
3 regeneration, not bad.
3 regeneration this early's. Those are both pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, like the burn is a high roll, and then pretty much any cooldown would have been a high roll. But the regen, like it could have been worse. You could have gotten another shield one. You could have gotten, like poison.
Yeah.
Or just pelt, which technically you get like 2 extra gold. But
how do we feel about Star Chart versus Beach Ball?
so, not fighting Hydro Dude, whatever.
Yeah, we're fighting
I do
PvP
think Beach
right
Ball's
now.
better.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do think it's better simply just because like that was a specific tech knowing the fight.
Right. This person.
But in a
we have no
PvP
idea.
battle, not knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's fight. What can we do?
And I know some people are probably like, "Oh man, they're yapping." Well, that's I said we're
It's
over-explaining,
the whole
baby.
point, right? Okay, so they have
It's
rifle
helpful.
with crow's nest. This is probably going to be very
This is
difficult.
a very a
that
very
is-
typical one weapon finesse of the crow's nest, which gives your weapons crit chance at gold. It's given at 75%, and then if they have one weapon, it gives it lifesteal.
Yeah.
And then they had shadow cloak, which hastes it, so it's attacking every second.
Basically,
increasing
we were
damage
not winning
and
that
critting.
one.
Yeah, and the thing too is also if it helps, I lost that day, and I would go back and I'd be like, okay, when I decided to go for that XP, would it have been better to go for that non-weapon vendor? And then I think about it, and like realistically, we probably didn't hit both. Maybe if we hit one of the pieces, I still think, nah, we just lose that.
Yeah.
So that also, like when something like that happens and you have a torn decision, as soon as something happens, that's also when I try to think, okay, like think next time. Like what looks better now that I know.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think we made the correct decision.
Yeah. Probably not getting an aquatic item. Not taking the poison. Probably not taking this. I'm not getting a weapon. I think cinders again.
Yeah. And
Day number 5. All right, we got the docks. Got an item, sell small items. We still have our star chart. I'm just gonna get these out of here right now. I think we're going to the docks.
Yep, especially because this build, in-game board, it's not that you couldn't, but ideally you don't have any small items anyway.
Okay, skills. Okay, so this looks very familiar. We have a lot of money right now, and I think it's time to maybe get a skill, another skill on the board here.
Yep, so the other options are also just unappealing in the first place.
Right.
But even if they were more appealing, skills, and this is what I was like, I'll get to it later. Items and board win early. Skills win late.
Okay.
So first days, your board's strong. And you could have the quote-unquote perfect board for like Trebuchet Vanessa. But day 12, if that's all you have, and you fight mediocre Vanessa board with skills that help, you're going to lose that every single time. And now that we're hitting day 5, yep, we now start to see a chance to hit some high rolls. And in this case, let me...
Medium burn. We have another iron sharpens iron again. First time you use a large item each fight, give your items 8% chance, crit chance for the fight.
Yeah, so looking at these, I'm double checking for that thing we're looking for.
I was gonna say, is like,
considered a vehicle?
do we think our endgame build has a vehicle in it? Because if it does, like Flashy Pilot might be worth getting right now, in hopes of, you know, being part of the end game build. I just don't know the build, which is another like skill knowledge check. Is like, you should know what your final build looks like, you know, but which will come with time.
Well, and part of it too is, as the game progresses, something like this too might, like, it should be more fluid. So something like this is like, sure, we're using Trebuchet and sure we know what we're going for, but maybe we could do this, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so while there might be an ideal board, that's another part I think people get lost on. Oh, but I got the ideal board. Yeah, but did you force it? And did they give you other options along the way that would have just been stronger? Or like, you know, let's say you took Flashy Pilot and then for some reason because of that, you actually swap an item on the board game because somehow it ends up being better. With that said, with the board that I'm just thinking of, you won't have a vehicle.
Okay.
And Vanessa has a couple. So it's not to say we don't. And you could just send it because the other items you currently have aren't the most enticing.
Right.
I, in this case, would probably reroll. But it wouldn't be wrong too, like, ooh, that seems really strong. And I think there's something there. You buy that, and then that can influence your decisions later.
Right.
And then suddenly your board looks a little different. And then that's a case where, like, people could be a little too rigid, where it's like, oh, but I'm not going to do this. When in reality, let's say you got this, and then the next shop gave you freaking flagship and something else, and you're like, wait,
yeah,
okay,
time to pivot.
sell everything, flagship, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I think pivoting
with that said,
is a more advanced skill, because I think you need to know what you could pivot into. And like right now, the only thing here,
and what's stronger.
Yeah. That's another thing too, is like, is a vehicle setup stronger? I am not, I just want, like, we have this, I kind of want to play around Trebuchet. Let's not try to get into like a complete pivot right now. Let's just try to stick with something consistent and see what we can do with it. So let's hit the reroll. Okay, I see a poison thing.
Looking awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, so see,
That's
immediately
not bad.
the other options, poison, shield. So that burns huge. And something to note though, especially with crit chance, people just assume, if they haven't played, oh, you just crit damage. Crit can apply to anything an item uses that is at the top. So like the number. So it can be damage, it can be burn, it can be poison.
Shield.
And it can be shield. Yeah.
I think,
so in this
case, health too, right? You can heal crit.
Yeah, healing. Yeah. So crit on the Trebuchet is also nice because not only are you doing, in this case, 120 damage, you're burning 50.
Yeah.
So crit is useful, especially when you have multiple things. So like, if we weren't going to reroll, let's say we rerolled and we got that last shop we just had, taking that once you use a large item, give 8% crit, that probably would have been what I chose.
Yeah.
But
I think we're probably taking the burn. This does seem enticing, but if we're playing around Trebuchet, I mean, I think we just got to take burn.
yeah, I agree.
All right. Sabretooth. Hakurvian Rocket Trooper and Gorgon Noble. So this is another look it up, see what you get. Gorgon, we're looking for Gorgon, the Gorgonator, if you will. Control F. Gorgon Noble.
Gorgon.
Lot of poison-based stuff. There is Petrifying Gaze. The first time you fall below half health each fight, freeze all enemy items for a second. Not bad, but odds are kind of low. Yeah, a lot of poison-related things here. Then we have the Sabertooth, Sabre Tooth. Small diamond items have their cooldown reduced by 30%. That's a diamond tier skill. Small weapons deal +3 damage. Not that great. And then the Rocket Trooper. Your large heavy weaponry, your large weapons deal +36 damage. It's got crit chance. When you crit with an item, reload an item +1 ammo. That'd be nice if we had any kind of ammo thing. It does have Shadowed Cloak, which is kind of nice. I think our best fight here is probably the Rocket Trooper.
Yep. So given that you want, like, you could get that skill or the cloak. I think they might even have rocket boots. It's not bad.
Yeah, they do.
The Gorgon, when there's nothing you really want from anybody, or maybe there's like one thing you maybe want from the rocket guy. The Gorgon Noble, that skill is pretty good, and it's important to note it's actually, I think, the most likely thing you'll get because it's a bronze skill.
Okay.
So most of the time you fight Gorgon, you'll actually get that. So even if you're not going poison build, knowing, well, I get 1 XP and I have a good chance of getting that skill. Gorgon Noble isn't bad to take, but especially in this case, where you have more to gain from Rocket Trooper with the build you're going, yeah, I think that's the correct call.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Haste adjacent items. Yeah, I mean, rocket boots could be pretty good as well.
Yep.
I don't think we don't have a lot of crit going on. All right, Jeej. All right, well, what do we got?
Easy. Everybody's house.
And okay, the worst one.
Yeah, I mean, if you were an ammo build, that's freaking great.
Yeah, it's amazing, but
and like, you know, sometimes I might get that, and from this point, depending on what I see in the next few like day or two, I might pivot.
Yeah.
In this case, we won't.
Should I still take it? Because we can just skip. We can just leave it there. But I don't think there's a reason to not. Oh,
there's like very few instances. Like, for instance, there's one PvE fight that could give you a skill where it's like when any item is used, all items gain 2% crit chance.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be really good. But then you have to think the value of your things versus enemies. And there's been times where I take that skill, I'm like, haha. And then little do I realize I get in the fight, and that crit chance actually, you know, they benefited more from. Yeah. So in this case, taking it is never the wrong way to go about it, and it takes it less likely to find it if you end up hitting like certain stores or you eventually upgrade it or whatever. But yeah, really, unless it negatively impacts you, there's never a reason to really not.
Okay. So we're one lost crate away from leveling up, so we could do that. But we also have a lot of money. Medium, large items. I know we need some medium items. I know we need some large items.
Yeah. So it's good that you're looking at like, well, how much XP do I need? The good news is though, you have another hour after this, so you'll be guaranteed to hit 7 before the fight.
Okay.
And then just like you said, you already know that there's 2 items from that build I mentioned you'll be looking for. Worst case too, maybe you find a trebuchet upgrade. But yeah, in this case, this is where it's like, okay, now I don't think it's wrong to start fishing versus another option.
Okay. Well, we can upgrade Katana. It's not bad.
Yeah, so for 4 gold,
yeah, I think that's
8 damage.
Easy move there. Might as well. When you buy another quad, this gains 4 shield. I don't think we're really going to be doing that. And then the harpoon, I don't think. Well, I mean, like, harpoon with flashy relay. We just don't have a lot of crit. Like, we're literally relying on a 5% crit chance to get harpoon loaded.
That would be funny.
It'd be funny, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I think we're probably going to reroll here and hunt for something else.
Yep. See?
Wouldn't you know it?
Those are the two vehicles, flagship and submarine.
Jesus.
So this is one of those times where it's like, you would take that, it's like, all right.
Yeah,
well,
could have just completely pivoted, of course.
Yeah. Now, granted, even with that said, like, let's say I got that skill and I got the flagship, I would still put that in the chest right now. Like, with what you have, you couldn't make a stronger build, I don't think. So it would be like I might lose the next day or two while I build up this next thing.
Yeah.
Knowing that. But again, we didn't want to pivot. That's fine.
Yeah.
The submarine isn't a terrible take depending on stuff because it is a 3-second activation.
Yeah, pretty fast.
With that said, for the 3 spots, is it better than, like, would you be getting more out of, right, like the shark claws, or, taking out the beach ball? And I think the answer is no.
Okay.
I don't think you do. But especially if you're a little more flush with it, sometimes, like, I might be like, you know what? I'm not entirely sure. Buy it and throw it in the thing because,
yeah, just try.
Kind of got it like that. So if you're not going to pick those, though, I do think you just pick up the middle one.
Yeah, the wanted poster.
Yeah. Because that is an item that does activate in the stash. And it has if it's on the board. But in the stash, when you want to fight against a player, gain an additional XP. And if you upgrade it, it gets more. But, like,
now,
for 8 gold right now, and you're not, needing the money.
We do have the scrap if we did want to do something with the submarine.
You could. It'd be a little increase.
Yeah. You know what? We
got
some cash. I'll take the submarine. And then if we don't want it, whatever.
Yep.
We'll get rid of it. Let's leave some options.
Knowing this too, it's not terrible. There are skills that are like when you use an aquatic item, haste a weapon. Well, it's aquatic and a weapon.
Yeah.
So it could haste itself or haste other things. Or Vanessa has a lot of aquatic interaction, so it's not 100% just a useless upgrade or buy.
So are the 2 medium items that we're looking for, are they tools? I don't really think they're tools.
One of them is, if I'm not mistaken, the captain's wheel. Yes, so captain's wheel is a tool.
Okay.
And I think on day 5, you're most likely to find a silver item.
Okay.
So you would be able to find it. So in this case, I don't think it would be bad. The temporary bonus is kind of in the same vein of that shield pickup.
Yeah.
Where it's, I'm going to get this to try and just win today's battle, which I think a lot of people underestimate.
Yep.
So it's not a bad pickup. And in this case, with only 1,100 health, I'd probably take the give plus 25 damage for the day if you were to go temporary.
Okay.
But I also don't think it's bad to look through the tools to see if you end up hitting.
Let's look for the tools. Okay. Well,
you didn't hit, but that's all right.
I mean, weather glass is kind of neat.
Weather glass is another build Vanessa can do.
Yeah.
Oh,
and there's
you
no
need
reroll.
a couple things for it to go right.
Tough.
Yeah, and so he's a specified, so you don't get a reroll. But I still think, and like now that you see this, it's like, oh, we should have done that. But I think you made an informed decision, and it was just a matter of odds.
Yeah, you just didn't hit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, again, people also get so upset at that, like, oh, I just never, like, we could go the rest of this game and never find a captain's wheel or a water wheel.
Yeah.
And that's just,
that's just the game, baby.
How it is.
All right, another level up. An item with ammo. I mean, we do now have flashy reloads, so that is tempting. Sharpening stone. Okay, we're not doing poison, income, healing. Dare I say, like, income or sharpening stone? Maybe load up, but it kind of feels like a gamba.
Yeah, I would go. I think the 2 ones are the best options. I'd probably lean towards sharpening.
Okay.
You get some gold. It's still 4 gold for selling it. And then 12 damage to give to something, which isn't negligible.
Yeah. All right, take the stones.
So.
All right, and we're going to give those... I guess we're probably going to still give those to Trebuchet. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. Really kind of still looking for a replacement for this. Do we maybe want to try the submarine?
That's exactly what I was going to point out. We could try that instead. So if we think about it, Shark Claws, once it's hasted, every 4 seconds. It's essentially activating every 6 seconds. Barbed wires every 4. So at 8 seconds, you would have activated 3 items, whereas a submarine, you would have activated, well, 3, and then every... So I think submarine, after like 9 or 10 seconds, is better, I believe.
And we have some sustain.
You get a non-negligible amount of shield. You lose out on the shark claws, boosting damage. But honestly, most of your damage right now anyway is coming from your burn.
Yeah. All right. Let's give it a shot. And this is aquatic. So it's going to be hasted for 2 seconds on a 3 set. Yeah. All right. Let's try.
And then something important to know about haste is it just halves a cooldown. So since you have 2 seconds of haste, it's not a 1 second cooldown. It'll be 1.5.
Okay. Well, they're doing something very similar.
So as long as you have duration, you have half second.
But the shield is actually going to be pretty nice.
Yeah, helping against the burn.
Yep. Although I think we might have just won even without it. Because again, like, look at our burn difference: 33 to their 8 and 6. Even though this has multicast.
Yeah. Yep. And that's thanks to all those cinders you got. You have the item that helps too, but like the cinders added up.
All right, we got the docks again, but we do have medium items.
So it is up to you. There is, so this is one of those things too. It's like, okay, well, what if I never find this? There is a gold medium item like the astrolabe, which you could maybe put in for haste, and then you swap. Instead of using a whole bunch of weapons by the trebuchet, you use a whole bunch of non-weapons. So that's one of those. It's like, okay, well, worst case, maybe I hit this and I pivot. Could find the captain's wheel. You could find the beach ball, and then maybe a beach ball now. Shark claws would be better than katana, maybe, because it'll haste
a
both
beach ball
of
in the
them.
hand is worth 2 in the bush. So true.
I never thought about it like that. But so you could also, I mean, 5 gold and 1 XP is never bad.
True.
And again, it's one of those, at some points too, after I hit a couple certain shops and I'm not hitting, I try and be like, okay, I'm not going to fish this time. I'm going for a guaranteed upgrade, because it's easy to be like, oh, I didn't hit this time. Well, I'll do it this time.
Right.
And then you just keep getting behind and behind. I used to make the same mistake with the PvE fight too. I do the hardest fight and lose. It's like, well, now I have to do the hardest to get the XP back, and then I lose again. Yeah. And I'm like, well, now I have, and then I just keep,
I don't think we're going to be using any small items. Get a random item is kind of whatever. I think we're just eating some chocolate on this one.
Chocolate.
We gotta watch our stash. Yep, gotta watch the
Yeah.
stash. Now we do have to sell something. We'd have to if we want maximum value from the chocolate bars.
Something to keep in mind. I believe starting day 8, if I'm not mistaken, you can no longer find the docks.
Okay.
So knowing that you're day 6, there's only a couple more chances for the star chart to come into play.
Okay.
So you might, like, if that's what you wanted to sell.
Maybe just ditch it
Or
now.
if you were married to all your items. Yeah, I might ditch it now, but if you were married to all of them.
I'm not married to it.
Yeah, you could also just be like, you know what? I'll just eat the loss of 2 chocolates. Like, if you go there, you don't have to be like, well, I mean.
Yeah. And I mean, like, getting rid of the star chart could potentially, push me in a different direction. Maybe I do actually hit that shop that time versus being enticed by the gold and the XP. Right. Here, I'm kind of feeling like some silvers. I feel like maybe even some golds. I don't know. How much gold do you want for like going for gold tier chocolate bars to be appropriate?
When I have like 40 plus, but I have most of my board solved.
Okay.
Knowing that there's still a lot you're shooting for. Sure, right now you have a lot of gold, but if you start hitting, you're gonna need that gold. So yeah, like I think a silver buy there though is a good call.
There's your boy the Lich.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're fighting them, although they do have a lot. They're kind of like the poison guy, but they do have a lot of freeze. First time you fall below half health each fight, freeze all enemy items for 4 seconds. The first time you freeze, slow all your opponent's items for 3 seconds. Your poison items have +2 poison. So we'd really want Petrifying Gaze if we're going to get that. Otherwise, we're looking at the freaking Dire Mosquito. When you slow haste a weapon for a second, we don't really have slow. Then we have the Foreman. When you use a tool, gain 5% crit chance. And then some shield stuff as well. None of them are really, in particular, feeling too good. I am just looking at their skills, though. Maybe they have some items specifically that that would be good, but yeah, nothing in particular is feeling that great.
Yeah, the major ones from these fights, the mosquito. Skill's not bad because there's usually some ways, especially if you hit up benders, to slow by doing something else like a large item or whatever.
Yeah.
But the mosquito you're usually doing because you're trying to get one of their insect wings.
Wing, yes. Reduce your item's cooldowns by 6 seconds. Okay.
So that's whenever you're sitting here and you don't know. Always a good call. Or if you don't feel that strong. The middle one, I do sometimes, but a lot of the items they currently have just aren't in a good place too. Like the dually large items, they have like the forklift and the crane or whatever, which I wish were better. The Lich, mini runs I've lost because Gamba.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that tempting 5 XP.
Yeah, it's huge.
And the Lich, if you read his items, I think it's specifically the middle one. It's like some sort of a tome. That's where he really gets you.
Oh, yeah. The Necronomicon. When any non-weapon item is used, poison 4 and gain 1 regen. Your items have their cooldowns increased by 1 second.
And because of his skill, it's like poison 8 and gain 2 regen or something. And so this is just like the Hydro dude, where you're like, okay, if you came into this and I have a most non-weapon board, I'd be like, I don't even have a shot. Now, you, on the other hand, I think you could gamble. It's a race because he has an item on his board that will freeze one of your items at the start of the game, which means you start the fight slowed for, 3 or so seconds.
Right.
And then when he reaches half health, he's slowed. But at that point, you hope you've got enough burn, and that's usually how you finish out the fight. It is a tough fight. But I will say I've also gotten a lot of 10 runs where I lose to the Lich. And it's like my only loss.
Okay.
It's not like a make or break, but sometimes it's like that 5 extra XP, or if you get like his book, that's just 50 gold. Any of the skills aren't bad.
I think if I was just doing this run myself, I'd probably go for it based on the information that you gave me. For the purposes of the video and maybe making a smarter gamble, I think I'm going to take the mosquito.
All right, that's fair. I hesitate to say it depends on really it depends on where the freeze hits.
Yeah.
And I think it would be close. I think the slow just gets your burn going a little too slow. So I think ultimately, if I had to guess, it would be a loss. It'd be a close one. Close enough that, yeah, like for me, I might gamba. But that's also the case if you're ever here, ever have a build, you're like, oh, I don't know. Mosquito, maybe you get the 6 or 9% cooldown.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
I'm going to take the mosquito. Let's see.
And the good news is, statistically speaking, you're most likely to get an insect. Since silver is the lowest tier.
So are the odds of getting an item just equal to the items on the board?
Yes.
So you have a 50% chance
well.
to get an insect wing, essentially.
If you're getting a silver thing, so yeah.
Well,
so you ended up getting Prabha. So you got unlucky.
Yeah. Tough.
But again, that's also why that's a smart play though, because like you're just going statistics. Like I know I can win this. I know I have a good chance of getting that item. It's just safer than gambling Lich King.
Yeah.
But if we just clicked Lich King and you lost, would have been like we should have done the mosquito because you know what? Yeah. Still 2 XP and still some gold.
Exactly. Okay. Well, when you slow deal 6, we're never going to use this. Here I'm just feeling more cinders. Aquatic items reduced by 3% is not bad, but when you're already going this quick, how much is 3% really?
Right.
Appraisal, garbage. This feels a little late at this point, so I think we're taking the cinders. And we're just gonna go bink, bink. Okay. Any item in the bazaar sells skills and a shield. Any item in the bazaar feels very, very gamba.
It is, but the special thing about this is every reroll starts at 1 and then it increases.
Oh, true. That's right.
So you get 3 items, 1, 2, 3. So you do have a lot of money.
Okay.
So I think it's tough because you could roll this and you could roll down, and especially if you were willing to pivot, any item, you also have a decent chance of finding enchanted items. So sometimes you just find an enchanted item where it's like, well, sheesh. Like,
yeah, you gotta.
This is good enough that I'll just, I'll just throw it in or I'll swap. Skills, this is sort of the thing where it's like, okay, skills, you have a higher chance of hitting something that will probably help. You could go to the shop and hit nothing, and at some point be like the gambler's thing where it's like, I've already rerolled 20 gold, I got to stop, and then I'm going to get nothing.
Yeah. I think, again...
But I think
for the sake of the video, I think I'd rather go more consistent. Let's see what a consistent run looks like, because if we just hit the nuts here, then it's just like, okay, well, the reason you maybe won this run is because you hit the nuts, and then, like, that's your run, right? As opposed to more diligent, like, let's maybe go a little more by the book and see what happens when you go by the book.
Yeah, I think on day 6... given that I don't think you could even find diamond yet, and gold skills are still rarer, the high highs of the dig site are higher, but the low lows are lower. Like the Nufu is like the, you know, in the middle. But like if I were doing this run myself and I hadn't been hitting the stuff yet, I might just be like, all right, well, I have to play for the high, you know? But you don't necessarily have to. And in this case, this is just the safer option.
Oh my god. This, like any other build, we'd be going off right now. When you crit
and
crit,
yeah, the crit skill is huge on certain weapon builds or one weapons. The when you crit, gain damage.
Yeah.
Because that skill is like one of those skills I talked about, where it's like that, the one to the left. Yeah, that one. Where like this is like this scales you in fights, and so sure we have a 12 damage katana. By the end of the fight, you have like a 300 damage katana.
Right. Yeah.
So that's sort of the stuff where it's like a mediocre build, but you had crit. Suddenly, you're turning on.
Yeah.
With that said, we have no crit. We don't have no ammo. We don't have shield, and that's not enough.
I'm hitting a reroll.
So it's like, yeah, we reroll.
That's the easiest reroll of my life. Okay, this is an upgrade. Your items max 1 ammo. When you buy this game,
yeah. So the rest are low rolls.
I think we're taking another 3rd degree burn.
So at the very least, it's better than the other ones.
Yeah.
It's not great, but like that's what I said. The highs on this one versus the lows for extra burn isn't bad. Now, see, now this is interesting. It just so happens that water wheel and captain's wheel are both aquatic.
Okay.
Now you don't get a reroll again, but statistically speaking, versus like the non-weapon vendor, sure, you could also find the captain's wheel and the water wheel at the one on the left. But the amount of aquatic items versus the amount of non-weapon items,
yeah, lot smaller.
I still
pool.
think you statistically have a chance. Yeah.
Versus just like get a random slow item, which is not really anything in our setup. Let's go for it. Well,
yeah, they didn't hit.
Didn't hit.
It do be like that. The cove, especially early on, is the best economic item for Vanessa. If I find this early at bronze and I can buy it, I don't care if it'll put me 0 gold. I buy it.
Yeah.
Because when you sell an item, it gains 1 value. And so typically, like, you know, hopefully you hit it like day 2. If you'd had it since day 2, your cove and your stash would be worth probably like 60 gold.
Right, yeah.
And you save the cove for that one big turn where it's like, oh, I found it. You just make the huge turn. This late, at gold or diamond, I would never buy it. Silver, like, I would think about buying it. It's 12 gold. And worst case, sell 6 items and you get your money back.
Yeah. Which, I mean.
So, yeah, that's... I might still cop that.
Yeah, I mean, we have enough money. Everything else, though, I think I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Next. All right, Dooley. Goulet.
I think this is like one of your first... Is this your first duel you
found?
found?
That's the first one. I think we've been... A lot of mirror matches.
That's crazy.
Okay.
And it's... Oh,
I just see all this, and I'm
core.
just like, yeah, we lose.
It's mainly the rays. Because watch his ignition core started at like 20.
Yeah.
And then look at the burn
all their
buildup
burn is just going insane. Like, what do you even do against this? And pretty much every duelie that I ever fight, I'm just kind of like, what was I even... Did I even have a chance here? There's just nothing that I feel like I could do. All right, non-weapon items, small tool. We have the cult. How do you feel about the cult? Diamond tier event.
So you see diamond, you're like, ooh, this is fun.
Yeah.
And it can be, but it has 4 specific encounters, and I have to try to remember. The first one is for free. You get a silver ritual dagger, which you probably don't use, and you just sell for like 4 gold.
Okay.
The second one is lose 10% health, and then gain like 28 regeneration.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is lose 20% health, but give an
It's crit.
item
It's crit chance. I have
chance.
I have it pulled up here. Yeah.
And then 30%, but then get a diamond runic bow. I've tried that once. I tried to make that build work with the diamond, like trying to pivot that late. Yeah, it didn't really work.
Yeah. So do we think it's
the
worth
only one I would
25 or 20% of my health to give this thing 50% crit?
Yeah, that is the decision. It's risky, but anytime it crits, you would obviously be thankful. But in this case too, you've still yet to hit, and non-weapon items could still give you something. So it's, I mean, this is just a full like gamble. How you're feeling?
Yeah.
Do you wanna? You know, it's entirely up to you.
All right. Again, in the interest of let's play safer, play smart. I think we'll.
Oh,
Look at that.
okay. We got one.
Okay. So
Now,
we're going to yoink this. We might have to
so
end up
once you
selling
do-
the cove.
We'll see if we get. Well, ideally, we'll probably sell like shark claws and stuff first.
A vehicle
But
or
so you have
large
room for
item.
that.
What if it's a vehicle and a
Yes.
large item? You probably just get one, right? You still get just one proc.
Probably.
Okay.
But so the reason, so like, just go ahead and put that in between instead of the beach ball. And so the reason this is so good, is just like you said, the captain's wheel, when it activates, it hastes adjacent items. So it hastes 2 items, which automatically charges the trebuchet 2 seconds. And then every time you use the trebuchet, it just uses the item because it's a large item.
Yeah.
And then it still has its own 4-second cooldown. So there's many times where it's like use. And every time you're doing that, that's 2 haste. Suddenly your trebuchet is perma-hasted. And then the water wheel works with that, which is why if we end up getting it, we'll talk about it. But the good news is, I think the pivot we did earlier, with the captain's wheel, the submarine is actually a better play right now.
Yeah.
So it's just a stronger board than what we had. And one of those cases where it's like, it's good you bought it. It's still not like setting you past that next level, but the captain's wheel should help a lot.
Ooh. Okay.
And I'll be honest, I've never seen anybody use the rowboat. They might just rework it or figure something. There's got to be something, but
You need like this and like everything else must be a slow item, I think, for that to be a.
and it's just 10-second cooldown.
Yeah, it's
like
long.
part of it too is when you use an adjacent or an aquatic item, haste. If it were charge, maybe there was like more ways to maybe make it work. But.
All right, we're not doing poison skills. I don't really need gold. I think just medium item. Just see if we can get the other thing.
Yep.
All right, what do we have? Fishing net, rifle, repeater. We don't have another item with ammo. I don't think we're really doing the slow thing. And then the rifle is just, this is not our only weapon. So we're going to hit a reroll. And we have, okay, well, claws are still in the vault there, but I don't think we're going to be using them. So I'm hesitant to even buy them. In fact, I think I should probably just sell this.
Yeah, I probably would. Because the shark claws adding extra damage is fun. But the value you're getting from a 2-second solar weapon than the katana, but adding, 9 damage is not as much as getting 2 activations in between that for your trebuchet. Because especially with the captain's wheel, the whole idea is we want the trebuchet to activate as soon as possible to then start activating the captain's wheel, and then this is a loop.
Yeah.
Like the self-sustaining loop. Which is why the water wheel sets it so that as soon as the trebuchet goes off, it's just almost nearly infinite.
Yeah. And then disguise,
so
we have
that's
no non-Vanessa items anyway, so I think we move on. All right. New battle. We have Viper Tyrant. What happened to my thing? Oh, that's right. The tab crashed here. Let's see. We have a Viper Tyrant. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of poison-based things. Poison. A lot of poison, so we're probably not leaning that way. Thug, I could see us potentially getting. Weapons deal damage. Small weapons deal damage. Weapons, some poison when you use a medium item. I did have an anchor build. Anchor was pretty fun. A one weapon build. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, most of the things there are not terribly interesting. And then we have Radiant Corsair. 3,600 health. The first time you would die each fight, heal to full, cleanse your burn and poison, burn yourself 30. Wow.
It's the best skill in the game. Yeah.
Burn items have 4% crit. And then the rest of their thing is they have the anchor as well. So it's dealing percentage damage. So obviously the Radiant Corsair is something that I would like to fight. But I think the odds of me winning are probably bad. What say you?
We haven't gotten to see it in action with the Captain's Wheel yet. So can't say for certain. But I don't think you're completely out of it. Because it's a matter of once you start getting it going. I mean, 41 burn, stack that pretty fast. And the difference, too, is the Corsair isn't offensively super suppressing. If his anchor doesn't crit, kind of vibing.
Okay.
Like you had, like if his anchor doesn't crit, typically maybe you might make it to the sandstorm. If it does crit, well, you know, it'd be like that.
Yeah. If there is one time that I think we're gonna take a calculated gamble, I think it's right now. I think the other,
now, I will say,
the other two being weak makes me want to try it more.
So I would argue Thug, is not a bad secondary. I still think we'll try the Corsair, but the Thug, it's a diamond skill, so it's unlikely to get it, but it's just increase enemy cooldowns by 1 second. Okay. That's insane. Anytime I fight Bonk, I'm like, screw this. You're just making their entire system a second slower, and then every time they need to cast it, like, you know, it's multiplicative.
Yeah.
So getting Bonk is great. With that said, I've fought the Thug a lot. I think I've gotten it once.
Yeah.
So he's good for that and the Thieves Guild medal or whatever. It's a diamond item. If you get it, sell it, and you get to go to the Thieves Guild. It's a really rare encounter. And that one has a couple options where it's either like double your income. So for you, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Fight Mr. Moo Moo or something. It's a pretty hard fight, but he's got super rare stuff that you can't find. Or you get a loot a vault, which on average is like 80 gold.
Oh, okay.
So the Thief Guild's not bad if you get to do that.
Maybe,
and Bonk.
Yeah, maybe we do just go with the Thug again. Like, I don't know.
With that said, we're going Corsair.
We are going Corsair? Okay.
Yeah, but I just want to, like, for people to know, the Thug does have some, like, if I knew you were going to get the Bonk skill, I'd go for that. But also the high roll, if you ever get Fiery Rebirth, it's essentially a 10-win button.
Yeah.
It's insane. And every time you fight somebody with a fight, you're just like, you lucky son of a gun.
Okay.
And then you lose.
We're doing a little bit of work here. We got hit by the anchor, but that's okay.
But it didn't
I think we're actually
and
gonna
the nice
pretty
thing
handily
is,
win.
although
they
he
have the
cleanses your
rebirth,
burn,
that's right.
he does start with 30 burn, which does accelerate your building.
Yeah.
And so now you just have to live, barring no crit with the next anchor. And it's close.
No.
Oh, and the crit.
25% chance to crit. That's so brutal.
Literally, yeah, you had it if it didn't crit. So see, it was a calculated risk, and yeah, you would have won without a crit, which statistically speaking, you should have, but
yeah, it literally came down to that one crit at 25%. One dice roll.
Yeah.
Haste, slow, cooldown items. Crit, we're not really living on crit right now. None of our stuff's critting, and then I'm not interested in a random item. I think we're taking the haste, slow, cooldown items.
I would agree. I mean, there's some crit that could possibly help, but having a store that is curated for the items you're looking for, because the water wheel's haste, the captain's wheel's haste, and maybe you just find a trebuchet upgrade. That's haste.
Yeah.
So you don't get a reroll, but again, well, you didn't hit.
Penile.
Classic. That's just going to be the theme of today's video. Yeah, you didn't hit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of the game, right? That is part of the game.
But yeah, and hopefully that's too, like, we can also illustrate that. Like, I think we've made most of the right decisions, and maybe some people could point to a couple, but especially not trying to pivot and just trying to make, like, and learn you can do all the right things, and that's just it. Like, I have games where I don't even get 4 wins. Like, sometimes it's just the game's just like, hey, screw you.
Yep.
Or it's just like, oh, well, if you didn't figure out this exact pivot, yeah, you were never going to stand a chance. It's like, well.
Yeah, sometimes you go E in Balatro, and sometimes you're, like, crawling across the finish line. Or sometimes you just don't even make it. Okay, so small items, I'm not really interested. 3 money, I'm really not that interested, except for Cove, but, like, we don't really care about that. The Artisan Dunes, these enable me to upgrade my weapons with a small effect, which is, I think, the thing that we're going to take.
Yeah, so I think it applies to weapons, but there's going to be technically 4 options, but it's give your weapon, you'll see on the left, 5 damage, 1 burn, or 2 poison, or 1 poison, and for 5 gold, you can double that.
Which I think we're going to do. And in this case,
yeah, we double that, and the value from 2 burn versus 10 damage, I think the burn is better value.
Yep. And there's a level up. All right, sharpening stones.
And so that's a good way to look at it too. Like, we just paid 5 gold for 2 burn, and you can just get a level up that's like, hey, here's 8 gold and like 6 burn.
Yeah.
So like that's how valuable that can be.
We're not getting a friend. I'm not doing appraisal. We're not doing a med kit. We're not doing no pain, no gain. I think sharpening stone is literally the only option.
I would agree.
Now, I think a potential question is, do we want to put it on the submarine to get more shield instead?
I would argue that's probably right. I mean, it's 18 more shield. Some people are like, well, that's not huge. Yeah, but also right now, while we're not hitting, we're trying to play our strongest board.
Yeah.
And sure, if we find our things and replace the submarine, darn, we lost out on that.
Now, here's the thing. Okay, your large burn items have 12 burn. So we don't really even need the trebuchet. Like, the trebuchet goes from 82 to 72. I would argue the bigger value in the trebuchet is the burn. So I think I'd rather have the submarine here to at least get the 10 damage for the 10 shield over this getting just 10 damage.
Yeah.
And then we do that.
And then put the captain back. Yep. It's a good shout.
All right. This person is level 12.
They are down
They are
bad.
down
so
bad.
Now, so there is a visual glitch currently. When you look at your PvP opponent, their level will be whatever PvE encounter you just fought. So Radiant Corsair was level 12.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I fought some people before. I'm like, physically, how could they?
Yeah.
But that's not the case. But in this case, it looks like he did hit his final stand, so he probably has an enchantment. He didn't. Okay, so he's literally at 1 health. So he's going to be looking to freeze and bonk.
Okay.
The Ice Club is a little spooky because when it drops below half health, it's just going to take one of your items out of the game.
Okay.
We'll see if your burn...
they took the trebuchet out, and wow, they are just absolutely clocking me.
Literally a second off because you just needed 2 more burn ticks. So it's close.
This is how most of my games end up going. Once I start to hit 4 wins, it's just like, well, that's another loss because they just have some kind of an item that's just like, deal 10,000 damage to your opponent in 4 seconds. And I just
well, and that's what I'm saying. The later you get, you're more likely to find boards that are hitting.
Yeah.
And so while your board isn't bad, the level your board is compared to like day 4 isn't that drastic.
Yeah.
Which is why we've slowly been, taking some L's. Mm-hmm. And while you have gotten like large burn item, gets more burn. That's literally the only skills you've gotten.
Right.
So, you haven't gotten a whole bunch. Freeze, we'd probably be looking for the first time you either use a large item or burn freeze. Mm-hmm. With that said, we're still trying to fish because our board's weak. So it's a matter of gamble to try and hit the aquatic items or probably get a skill that will at least help somewhat.
I think I'm at the point where I at least want something on the board to help us try to win as opposed to a gamble.
Right. So then you have a good shot of finding at least one freeze thing you could use.
Okay. So, first time you slow, no. First time you crit, First time you burn, that's what we're looking for. When your items gain freeze, burn 4. Okay, so we're not doing that. So we're taking Frostfire. Yeah. It's something.
Gain freeze isn't bad if you already had that option. Because if you've been able to enable a little bit of burn and they start doing a whole bunch of freeze, could be the little thing that saves you.
Yeah.
So it's not like a throwaway skill, but if you have a burn build, you might grab it.
Weapons, I mean, the only reason I would go here would be to like try to get a submarine or a trebuchet as an upgrade. Small non-weapon item, we're not even using any of those. And then me personally, I would be leaning this way. Like, I don't think 50 health at this point, or even like, you know, 70, 100 health, whatever it is really going to help us win at this point.
I agree. If there was no weapon you could get that could help at all, I just wouldn't bother. I'd get the 50 health. But yeah, at this point, an upgrade would help ever so slightly.
And we didn't get it.
You didn't hit. And you didn't hit.
We didn't get it. All right. Robo Bouncer, Internal Frigate, and Joyful Jack. Let's see what we got. When opponent freezes your items, reduce the duration by 1 second. Your heal items. Okay, so they have a lot of healing, poison type stuff. We have the Frigate, which does have some burn. At the start of each fight, burn 17. They do have a trebuchet. I don't know if I'd be able to upgrade it from theirs.
What's their rarity?
It's gold.
Okay, yeah. So something to note: going into a PvE fight, if you have the same item, can't drop a dupe, and it won't drop unless it's the same rarity.
Okay.
So if you had a gold treb, you could get the gold treb. But because you have a silver, you'll never get the gold treb because it won't give you the dupe. And then because you can't upgrade, it's not like, oh, he rolled the trebuchet, let's put it down to silver, upgrade.
Yeah.
You just won't get it. That's at least currently how the game works.
Okay. And then the Robo guy, when you use a weapon, adjacent items gain 8% crit chance for the fight. Could be decent. That is sharpened steel. I'm kind of feeling Blimp, or I'm feeling the Robo.
So those are both good. Joyful Jack is one of the cases where even if you're not poisoned, there's a Hail Mary for his skill, which is when I think your items freeze, reduce another freeze cooldown by 1. Yep. So if you're getting chain frozen, it's nice to prevent it, especially if you're like a 1-weapon build or something and you're really hesitant on freeze. But in this case, then you get value from both. The value from the frigate might not be worth more than the extra XP and gold from Robo Bouncer. I'd probably go Robo Bouncer, yeah.
All right, let's see what we can do here.
And it's the same case here. You'll never get that katana. So it's immediately taken out of the pool. And this is sort of that meta game. This is sort of that meta game I talked about where, like, now that you have the katana, the pool of available items is lower. So you're more likely to hit everything else.
Okay. All right. One multicast if adjacent to a friend. Double this if it's your only friend. Don't think we are doing much with this.
It's a great dually item.
All right. I'm just going to get rid of you right now. Cove has come back to... we have regained all the money from Cove. We do have a lot of money. I don't need more money. I don't know if I want a temp boost. But also bronze tier junk items. I know this is a shop that you can re-roll. This has a chance.
Curio is... especially with a lot of builds, almost always a high roll.
Okay.
One, especially with like Iron Sharpens Iron, for instance. Curio can only sell bronze tier. So the later you get into the days, the higher rarity and the more expensive items are going to be. But the Curio, for instance, has a lot of bronze items. So it's really cheap to buy a bunch and like scale that. Yep. There's also, albeit little, some slowdown stuff. You'll take the knee brace, and I'll explain why later. It was on the far left.
The knee brace. This one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want me to buy it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. When you sell this, your weapons gain 3 damage. That's an easy one. Sell this, gain 20 max health. Yeah, I think we're scooping like a lot of this stuff.
I think you scoop everything except for that healing friend.
Is this guy, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe the Fang. Well, I mean, no, we want to.
We'll see. Yeah, the
Fang's
sharp.
Okay. So buy the Fang.
And also think about it. Everything you're buying is also giving the Cove 1 gold. So like these 2 gold bronze, you're essentially not losing any money because if you ever sell the Cove, you made it.
Leftmost weapon. I think we want that on the submarine. Leftmost weapon crit chance.
I would still gamble it on the treb. A burn crit.
Yeah, goes crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Sell that. This is getting 3 damage on everything, which is kind of nice. And then we're going to definitely get that. We're going to get some max health. We're going to get some more max health. Then we're going to re-roll. So I'm just going to keep over here so I don't accidentally sell it. Re-roll it. Wow. Your heal item's getting 10 heal. Nope. Your leftmost item gets 4 damage if it's a okay. What if it's both? You just get both?
Yeah. Yeah, you get +4/+4.
Heal item, no. When you freeze an item, your weapons gain 4. No, that's only for using
but it is a weapon.
Okay.
So just buy it in.
Okay.
And you'll
And
sell
then we
it,
have
but that's iron
we have
sharp
an insect wing. I have no space for that, so let's sell. 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 Does get both. We're going to grab the wing. And I think that is about it.
Yep. We go next shop. Before we use the cooldown wing, we just want to see all of, like, if it's next PvP fight, then we'll decide.
Okay. Poison, healing, no pain, no gain, get a friend, citrus or coconut. All of these are penal.
They are.
They are penile.
They all suck. The best are citrus or coconut.
Yeah.
You at least gain a little health or regen, but everything else you're not using.
Okay.
So you got 9
regen. Something.
This on, it's not the best, but that's something, you know.
Okay, items with ammo. Not really doing that. Max health, 250. Small and large items. Ironically
At this
named
point,
Midsworth.
yeah, I actually never realized that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I meant like
well,
he's
my
in the
parents
middle,
named
and
me
like a
Midsworth.
medium item is in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, Christian, are you a Christian?
Oh yeah.
Well, my parents named me this.
I don't really. I mean, like the large item is appealing because maybe we hit a submarine, maybe we hit a trebuchet. We're not doing anything with items, or items with ammo, and then like health. Sure, I could see it. You know, something, but I'm leaning towards this to try to get like a Hail Mary.
Yeah, if we were more stable, 250 health, that's nice and it's free and it's guaranteed. But we're not recognizing too where we are just, I mean, probably going to be at our final stand. So we're sending for some stuff, any upgrades, or ideally new stuff. That would be a no.
And we try again. Would you look at that?
At least we upgrade the submarine. It's 25 damage.
Something. It's something, man.
Yep.
Because that 25 damage
And
is
then
just also some shield.
You could buy the shoe blade and sell it. Ultimately, 2 gold for 2 damage or whatever with the iron sharpens iron.
Okay, so we're gonna leave this encounter. We're not gonna start the PvP yet, because you told me about this.
Yeah. So like a tech with the knee brace. So if it's on your board at the start of each day, you gain 100 health. It's not really why you buy it. The cooldown of your items are increased by 1 second. Most people see that. They're like, that's garbage. Why would I want to do that? And, well, yeah, you wouldn't really want to fight with the knee brace. It is garbage. But, like, hover over your trebuchet right now. So you're sitting at 7.3 seconds. So take out the captain's wheel and then put the knee brace in. Okay, it's 8.3 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, that's no good. But now we look at the insect wing. Which is when you sell this, reduce your leftmost items cooldown by 3%. Now, what's important to note is currently in the game, yeah, you already know, it calculates off its current cooldown. So, we're talking fractions.
Yeah.
And right now, you got it so late that, like, it's not the biggest deal.
Right.
But you can get Curio like day 1 or day 2. And in fact, I did that on a video I did not too long ago with Dooley. I got 2 cores. The core usually starts at 6 seconds. I think I got it down to like 2.2. Because we use the knee brace, and Dooley also gets access to like more cooldown stuff. Yeah. But so this is like one of those small techs that if you can do it, like you're holding 1 gold, it's not the biggest deal. Mm-hmm. And the upside, if you find more, can be big enough. So in this case, we increased trebuchet by 8.3. We would want to reduce trebuchet the most. So yeah, we use insect wing.
Just verifying 8.3.
And
okay, boom.
It's important to note that this also works, however, if you remember like the star chart. If you had the star chart on the board and you reduce cooldown and you didn't move it away, it would be reducing the trebuchet that's already being reduced.
Yeah.
So you'd want to take the start chart out and then do the cooldown, put it back.
Okay. Can we get rid of this thing
So
now?
again, small tech.
I mean, I guess we could hold on to it in case we get another, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because anytime you get cooldown, it's helpful.
All right.
The only time I get rid of it is if, like, you have 23 gold and you need this diamond skill, or you don't have any more space, and yeah.
Here we go.
GLHL. He's also been struggling, which can always be good or bad. Like, he either hit the nuts with his enchant, or
Let's see.
he really do just be struggling.
He...
So he has a... What is it? When you use an adjacent item with a shipyard, or the model ship, it gives crit, which is interesting. He has a lot of healing. The good news is, though, he's completely passive.
Yeah,
and you're stacking burn
I don't
way too
even
fast.
know your weapons and... What do you even do here? You just try to outlast them?
Yeah, and the vineyard, funny that you froze that first. Every time you use an item, it charges like 3 or 4 seconds. And so it's almost like any time you use another item, use the vineyard, which heals. And so last patch, they've sort of nerfed it and stuff, but pacifist pig can win. The problem though is poison and burn are in such a wild build. Like your burn build, I would argue, is more still on the okay side, like not psychotic. Obviously the Cinders have still got the burn high, but Dooley, for instance, getting like 1,000 burn or 1,000 poison, like,
ridiculous.
There's just not enough counterplay. Yeah, like infinite heals should be the counter, but it's not the case.
We're not taking regeneration. Chocolate bars are kind of whatever. I still think we're going for aquatic items.
Gamba! Yeah, surely we hit eventually, right? Fudge. But that's actually the item I was talking about at the very beginning of the day. So your aquatic items have also a multicast.
Multi.
If you
4
had
aquatic items, Jesus.
Yeah, these would all be sick if you had more of an aquatic build.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, replacing Treb just to have that cast one. Yeah,
it's not worth it. Damn, it's always so sad to see like a diamond item in the store, and you're just
about to be like, we did it. Yeah, like, oh my god, we hit. We
medium items, 5 gold, non-weapon items. I don't really need money. We do need medium items. They sell non-weapon items, but again, I think the pool, well, I don't know. Non-weapon or medium? What's the vibe?
It's tough. Medium, I mean, katana upgrade doesn't do much. We would like water wheel, but you could find water wheel, and you still have the chance to find water or captain's wheel and water wheel there, whereas the other one's just captain's wheel.
All right, well,
so statistically, you're more likely to get a captain's wheel upgrade.
Yeah.
But you can still find one, and again, it's like the water wheel's the big one that's gonna help the most.
So we're probably leaning towards Kina.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we could upgrade our
They got me excited again. Garbage. So the only thing that's why like Bronze Cove is the best, because it's the cheapest to buy and it's passive, never increases.
Yeah.
It's not like when you sell an item, this game's 2.
And penile.
Son of a gun.
Well. All right. Captain Pharaoh's Khan weapons platform. Let's take a quick look at that. Weapons platform. When you use a large item, haste 2 small items. Not doing that. Or your items just have some crit chance. So I'm already kind of schnoozing on that. Besides the items, Pharaoh's Khan. If you'll have only one weapon, nope. Leftmost weapon or rightmost weapon deals plus 24 damage. Okay. It does have Shadowed Cloak as well in case we want to try that, but I think we're probably beyond that point right now. It does have Silencer, Sniper. Okay. Not terrible here. And then Blood Reef. Was it Captain? Captain. Your item's cooldowns are reduced by 5 seconds. You have a vehicle. 5 seconds. You have a weapon. If you have a tool. Okay. We have, what, 2 of the 3? We have 3 out of 3. Okay. And they do have a captain's wheel, but it's gold. But like that, I would take that over our silver version.
Well, the problem is...
Oh, no, they don't drop it at all.
Yeah, you could balls to the wall Gamba, sell your captain's wheel,
I'm not doing that.
beat them and hope you get it.
I'm not
But yeah.
Well, I mean, that skill seems pretty nice, but I'm not drawn anywhere in particular with any one of these combats.
Yeah, typically on this day with these options, most builds I'm the exact way, not like drawn. The high roll of all these would be that skill of the captain.
Yeah.
If you want to try for that, it's a gamble, but also, ironically, because you have the captain's wheel, you can't get it, and that's one less thing to roll. So,
yeah.
Again, sometimes you just do the Hail Marys because that's like some of your runs. That's just it. You hit the nuts.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're a nut. Sometimes you're not.
We need more nuggets of wisdom from
We do
Datto.
be having a lot of healing, but it's not going to be a huge problem.
Now show me the skill game. Come on.
Skill go crazy.
One thing, man.
Ooh, it's
Bodge. Oh. Well.
Ooh, penile.
Okay, so you hit level 11. This is the guaranteed upgrade. I would go for... Well, why don't you tell me what you think first?
Okay, so Trebuchet seems enticing, but I think the captain's wheel going from 1 second to, I'm assuming, 2 seconds, I think is going to have much greater value.
Yeah, that's it. Of all your items you could upgrade, yeah. But because of this, 2 seconds now with everything activating, the submarine is now activating fast enough for the captain's wheel to perma haste. So you're always hasting that and activating that, which should then also permanently haste the trebuchet. At 1 second, there was just enough of a
gap,
overlap where you wouldn't. Yeah. And now you should be good.
I think we're going weapon skills at this point over tools. I think getting another skill on the board would be nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Would love something.
Can't believe we're still getting bronze.
I know. I was
in
gonna
this
say,
economy.
man. Okay. Well, large weapons deal 12 damage. That's something. First time you use a large item each fight, adjacent weapons gain 15 for the fight. So I mean that could juice up katana, I guess, at least a little bit. Weapons just when you use a weapon, give a weapon adjacent to it 4 damage for the fight. So I could like swing katana over. Well, no, I couldn't because we want this to be our leftmost weapon.
So you could have katana buffing treb buffing katana. I think of all those, that comes out to be the most value.
Yeah.
But then again, it also depends on how long did the fight go.
Yeah. But I mean, it's still like, I realize it's probably dumb to just say like, oh, gold tier skill better than bronze or silver because it's gold. But I feel like in this case, it's sort of right.
Yeah, but not by a large amount.
Yeah. All right. Let's take it. 1 additional XP. We did just level up, so we're not going to get to level 12 by the time we fight again. We can fight a monster. Well, we don't want small items. I don't think we even really want I mean, it's safe, but I think there's much greater value in fighting a monster.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, this comes up an option. You do it because it's the possibility if you win, that's just like bare minimum, like 6 gold and 2 XP with an item. Now, if you lose, well. But it's like a free.
Okay.
Holy.
Well,
okay.
well,
Slight problem.
Yeah, we might get one shot. Yeah. And it froze like the worst thing.
Oh, but you might.
Oh my! Are you kidding me, man?
No world.
It's 30% chance. 30.
30% chance, and you were half a second off from burn tick killing.
Oh my god, dude.
That is brutal. So see, that's like it's just like the gods just don't want this run to go well.
They really
right
don't.
now, you know?
They really don't. But 5 wins for me, again, still pretty good.
And you just can't take it, like I said, you can't take it too personally. Like, just like
Here's
this,
the thing.
I'm piloting.
I'm gonna, but I appreciate you saying
wins.
that.
I don't blame you.
Look at that.
Especially
Trebuchet,
feels
you
worse.
have the diamond freaking captain's
Yeah.
wheel. You have the beach ball. All
Yeah.
right. Well, we'll see how this goes.
That's a son of a gun.
We might. I mean, we're still kind of. We're maybe gonna. No, we're dead. Again, literally
problem
so
is-
close.
And the problem here is skill diff. They had a skill that when they reach half health, shield for 30% of their max health, that slowed down your burn just that much. Otherwise, and see again, it's like that game of inches, right?
Yeah.
83. If one little thing had gone different, or you found one more trebuchet upgrade, or if you just found you know, and that's just the.
Yeah. So Last Stand, somewhere I've been many times before. You have told me that I'd say 999 out of 1,000 times you just want to go get an enchantment.
Yeah, it's a gamble because usually there's a lot of enchantments that just won't do anything for your build. But the way you look at Last Stand is, here's the thing: you're on Last Stand.
You
got nothing
something.
else. Yeah, you're going for the Hail Mary. Yeah. The diamond enchant is like if you're super. Oh, see,
they really want me to have crit effects.
Now that's something. Now, this is where something like the How Bazaar site can help. And I'll pull it up for you. Where I have it. So, for instance, with almost all weapons, this effect, crit chance, is just this weapon, this weapon gets plus 50% crit chance. Yeah. That's like 90% when you put it on a weapon. There's a couple different ones like missiles, which is a dually friend weapon, and that one's like when you haste, give items crit chance. Yeah. So that's why looking it up is important. But in this case, the important thing is that, so Captain's Wheel, even if you were to pick it up right now, so you can pick it up and you'll see you can't enchant it. And I wanted to double check. But yeah, so otherwise Trebuchet is just 50%, Submarine is just 50%, and Katana is just 50%. So, it's all straightforward. What would you think is the best play to
part of me, I am a very defensively minded person, so I was like, oh man, the submarine's gonna be going off so much. What if I crit shield? That's gonna give me a lot more sustain. But then you could also look at it as like, okay, well, if you crit burn, that's gonna really accelerate how fast they could die. Honestly, I kind of feel like it's a toss-up, but I'm leaning more towards Trebuchet.
I would agree. The submarine play does make sense from that standpoint, but the way I look at this is like our build, aside from that shield, has no more defense. Our offense is trying to burn them as fast as possible. Right. All right, that's our defense. So increasing shield by 100 every now and then, this late into the game, probably isn't going to do it for us.
Not taking the regeneration. Sells weapons. I mean, we could just YOLO into a weapon upgrade, but I think we're kind of beyond that at this point. Mysterious Portal, Rare Event, or Merchant, take a chance. I'm kind of leaning towards this.
Yeah, 95% of the chance I just click this, just because while you can find some other hero vendors, which is never bad, also chance you find enchantments, and so I click it every time, hoping for an enchantment, and I get disappointed every time.
So don't take it.
But I do it every time. And I think
it's, this, so
especially with the other options.
So we shouldn't, but Gamba.
No, I think it is worth it. I'm just always hoping for enchantments. Okay. But the high roll of this can just outweigh so much. Like, because if you hate you,
and again, we are at the point where we're trying to play to win, not to not lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So you need to take more chances.
Okay, so she's also really good if you're trying to pivot at times.
Okay. Well, this all sucks.
But so yeah, everything will just be enchanted with something.
This is so bad.
Yeah, so these suck.
Reroll. And these also kind of suck.
Yeah, I mean, they do kind of suck.
Aquatic gains 40 for the fight. Yeah, we need to reload. This is penile. I mean, this,
brother, that stinks.
This, like, tough.
Yeah. Oh, but see, that's a high roll.
I feel like you have to just take this.
Yeah, I have never not picked a different option when this shows up.
Yeah, a free upgrade. Now the question, Captain's Wheel, it seems like we're already able to go infinite. So being able to, like, there is no more infinity in this game. It's just, if you're infinity, exactly. You're infinity. So I lean towards Trebuchet. Because at least we'll get a little more burn.
Especially since you enchanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're getting more value if you crit as well.
Like 2 burn on this thing.
Yeah.
Void Golem. Let's see. Void Golem. Okay. This is a lot of oh, this is Caltraps. Or Caltrops. When your enemy uses an item, deal a bunch of damage. Okay.
Let me just go ahead and say this. Okay. I never fight Void Golem.
Okay.
Void Golem is the most OP. Broken. You lose 99% of the time. I think I beat him like once or twice.
Okay.
The problem, well, and it depends on your build, but especially in your case. So his skill is when you start the fight, destroy a random item on each person's board.
Yeah.
First off, it's incredible how it hits your most important item every single time.
Danielle is cackling
the
right
other
now
issue is, it's just true. And then the other issue is, he has skills and items and stuff that work that once he destroys an item, and then he has spices, his caltrops are suddenly doing 400 damage every time you use an item. So like, you use katana, you take 400 damage. Oh, you use katana, you use 400. By the way, you lost your trebuchet anyway, so what are you even playing the game for? Oh, you lost Gunnak. Like, even as a Gamba guy, I don't Gamba that ever.
I think we're going Trash Titan. I looked up Hulking Experiment. It didn't really drop anything that I was looking for. Trash Titan at least gives us a chance to get the heavy weaponry skill. Your large weapons deal 72 damage. I think we go with this.
Yeah, I agree. Like, again, people talk about Lich. Like, oh, I Gamba. I think they do it. The thing, too, is I guess I should be thankful. Void Golem is so strong, there's not even a single part of my mind that's like, well, maybe.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the point where it's just like,
Danielle is still laughing,
there's no coping
at this.
Yeah,
because she's been playing for like a week straight.
No coping. She's probably Void Golem every time. I have no idea. Spoilers.
She says never, never.
Okay.
When you use an item to the left of this, haste the item to the right of this for 2 seconds. At this, like,
I mean,
is there a way to finagle this into the build somewhere? If I had another small item, maybe. I think we're kind of beyond that point.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah.
I think we're beyond that.
I mean, like, this is one of those cases, too, where hold on to it at the very least. What's she saying?
Here, talking to the microphone if you're going to do it.
I did Void Golem once, and then never, ever again. I was like, nope.
She went faster than I did. It took me like 30 Void Golems to finally be like, all right, screw this, man. This freaking dude. Or I'll even have a build with like 8 small items and a medium item. I'm like, what are the odds that this destroys my build? Oh, they destroyed my build. And then you lose.
Sells items, too generic for me. Get an item, too generic. Sparring partner is not
me when
showed
I see
up.
Kroger.
At all. I don't think I'm really going to be able to do a whole lot against it, but it does kind of, well, I don't know. At the same time, like, sells items. Like, we need to shoot for Hail Marys at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, so Sparring Partner, for those unaware, it's a PvE fight that you technically can't, well, say you can't win. I think I did. Because it went too long that the game just stopped the fight and then gave me a loot item for, like, extra shield, which I'd never gotten before. So I was like, oh. I guess technically you can win. But the whole thing of it is he doesn't fight back. He has no items. And for the fight, every time you kill him, you get 1 gold. He doubles his health, cleanses all the debuffs, and then increases his gold value. You kill him once, you get 1 gold. Doubles his health. Kill him again, you get 2 gold. Doubles his health. So on and so forth. So when you don't have other items and you just need gold, or sometimes you have an insane build that goes infinite, like mainly the ones too where it's like my build was just the amount of shield I got. Like the sandstorm literally just couldn't kill him. So you do that for Sparring Partner, but you got 50 gold. The problem right now is not gold.
Yeah, we need
finding things.
So I think.
So yeah, in this case, you just
got to take JJ.
Yeah, you send it
and just hope for something. Okay. Well, I don't think we're doing that. Reroll.
The dam's so cool.
Destroy this all enemy small items for the fight and slow for 10 seconds. Wow. Yep.
It charges with an aquatic. So I actually have a video where I think I have a video somewhere. I used 1 weapon submarine and pivoted for the dam against Dooley so that the submarine charged every second and Dooley had 8 small items.
Oh yeah.
And his whole board just it was so satisfying.
Just full counter. Unfortunately, I don't think that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, but for this, useless.
All right, another level. Poison aquatic items by 3. 2 income. Okay, so I mean, here's the thing: is we could do this whole move again if we really wanted to.
Yeah, the thing is, versus everything else, what's going to help us the most in the next fight? knee brace 3%. It's not much, but
it's something.
It's
Let's
something.
take this out. Put you in. Actually, no. No, yeah, we should do this. Okay, and yeah, go. Take you out. Put you back in. Small and large
Okay.
items, skills, small friend. I think we're taking more skills. I think we need skills.
Yeah, the only way that Midsworth is better if you manage to find that water wheel.
Yeah,
But that's a Hail Mary, whereas right now,
I need.
there are
I
some
need
skills.
something.
Yeah, there are more skills you might hit that might save you, but
Okay, 5-second freeze instead of 4. When you use a weapon, give it 6 damage for the fight. That's just a one time, or is that every time?
every time
Okay.
you use it.
Rightmost is 24, and then burn goes up to 16.
Of all these, realistically, I'd probably take the +4 burn if I wasn't going to reroll. But the thing is, we're looking for a high
Yeah,
roll.
we need something that's going to bust this wide
Yeah.
open. This case needs to be busted wide open, Johnson. So let's do it. Hey,
And,
there's something. Okay, couple.
Oh, baby.
When you use a non-weapon item, a weapon gains haste for 2 seconds.
Guess what? That activates every time. So essentially, every time you use a large item, Captain's Wheel's hasting for 3 different times.
Yeah.
So that's another second extra. That's nice.
So 1 damage when you.
That's too
yeah,
late
this
for
is
that.
way too late.
That'd be great.
Okay,
But
mixed message.
so definitely the best. If we had known all this and tried to pivot, and you had more aquatic too, that go even crazier because it would essentially just be a whole bunch of
Oh, yeah.
non-weapon aquatic things. But that's still now. Does that crack it open?
No, it does not.
But it's marginally better.
Well,
And
I'm gonna hit the 07
We'll
on this
see.
one. I think we're probably
Yeah.
dead because this is just how my games go. But let's see.
I'm sorry we couldn't. I wanted to
It would have been Pog to hit like the 10
try to
wins,
show
but
you.
okay, let's see what we can do here. Well, you kind of have just they're gonna crit me, but
crit
they
with a
already have
lifesteal.
lifesteal on the thing. So
Yeah. So
please unfreeze,
the crits
please
be
unfreeze,
hurting.
please unfreeze. We are not gonna win.
crits.
No. They froze the trebuchet.
Unlucky.
If they froze anything else,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, that's how it
And
goes.
this is just how all my games go. Except usually the 5 is like you mirror it, so it's a 2. And this is just how they freaking go. But you know, it's still pretty educational. I did learn many things, and 5 is well above my average of what feels like 1 or 2 at best.
And the thing to take away too is like, I mean, I practically like played this game.
Yeah.
And I got 5 wins. Like,
That's just
it just is what
just
it
what
is. I
happens.
think the one difference was I think there was a world where we pivot.
yeah.
But that's also not what we were trying to do.
And just like how could you
it
know,
does
right?
take-
Because it's like if we try to
Yeah.
pivot and then the pivot doesn't work, it's just like, well, we shouldn't have tried to pivot. Like it's hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's tough to say. I think like the button I would have clicked was I think I would have tried for that gold vehicle skill and then just been like if. And then it was that shop we hit right after
Yeah.
with the gold flagship. That would have been the sign like, yep, all right, I'm pivoting. So again, hindsight is, 2020 or whatever the fudge.
Yeah.
But you still tried. And yeah, hopefully
There's a
lot of the
one.
micro
I don't know
decisions
if-
of
I don't
each
know if you're gonna
encounter,
edit
yeah, I
this at
know.
all, but it's
I'll figure it
still, for someone who's still learning, who really wants to like buckle down and start learning something, it's
yeah. I don't
be a
think
good resource.
a lot of people who have played a whole bunch maybe found that much, but I still think there's like some small tech things or like little statistics and I'm still learning a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, in this case, like this should also sort of demonstrate that this is what, at least from what they've explained with their vision, they want the Bazaar to be. We tried to force, like, oh, we got the trebuchet, screw it, let's go for the Omega build. And they didn't give it to us. And so it's one of those where it's like, well, you should have played what you got. Like, that's how they want you to do it.
Yeah.
Now, right now, that's not always the case. And like you mentioned that Reddit post, the guy went 10 games and at least like 8+ wins every single game with Trebuchet. Well, guess what? They also hit Water Wheel every game, so that helps.
Yeah.
But that's just it. Like you can know the builds, you can know what you're looking for, and this is where you end up. So, if anything, hopefully that helps some people out. Is not every game is a 10 tuber.
Not every game is gonna be a tuber.
The thing too is it keeps evolving. Like once the new patch comes in like 2 weeks or whatever, I'm sure a lot of the sort of golden rules will change. Like my golden rule of like XP.
Good change.
Suddenly maybe they devalue level ups, and it's like, okay, well actually, not worth it.
It's kind of the problem I had with Deadlock is like the game is changing so much that to try to put a guide out is just like, okay, well by next week the game could be completely differently balanced.
Yeah. The takeaway is Bazaar is a game of chance, but meets skill, like knowledge, knowing it's really just a whole game of odds, right? It's like you click this thing because statistically it's most likely going to hit what you want. And that's essentially the whole thing. And so some runs you hit and it's like sick. And some runs you're like, I made the right plays. It's like poker,
Yeah.
Like the house said to hit, but I busted.
Yep.
You made the right play, but that's just how it is. And
I'll correct you, blackjack.
And then holistically as a game, currently, like it fundamentally boils down to what is your build, like your engine. So for instance, for us, it was get Trebuchet to cast. As soon as Trebuchet casts, it starts activating everything else, which then feeds back into Trebuchet, and we got that build. So what do we want to do? Get Trebuchet casting as fast as possible. And a lot of builds, that's also it, is just the faster you can turn something on, the easier, especially because stupid freeze is like Void Golem, and it just hits the item you don't want to. I was like, literally freeze ever hits anything else, and it hit the thing it shouldn't have.
Yeah, no, RNG is definitely a part of it.
If you enjoyed this video, I think you might enjoy this one. With that said, thank you very much for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic day. I'll talk to you in the next one. Farewell.